Good morning. Forecast starting off in the 50s here this morning. Overcast, and there's a chance for some rain this time through this morning. It's not going to be for everyone. Nothing as far as the next 4 or 5 days will be for everyone. Everything's going to be very hit and miss as far as our rain chances go. We'll keep today a little bit cooler. Temperatures will only be in the low and mid 60s for us for our highs, and the farther north we get, we'll even be stuck in the 50s. A chance for another round of some rain late in the afternoon throughout this evening, and even a few showers possible overnight tonight. Have a great day.
I know what it's like to be in a financially struggling family. We had a lot of leftovers. I couldn't have asked for better parents, but like most people, they didn't have anyone to teach them the best financial habits. So we changed that. As a financial health coach, I help people every day. I try to put myself in their shoes from my own experience. I connect to them because I've been there. Helping families like mine save a little money changes everything. This is personalized guidance. This is Wells Fargo.
There's nothing quite as magical as staying at a Disney Resort hotel. So imagine complimentary rides to and from the park, even extra time with your family in the park. And right now, you can save 25% on rooms at select Disney Resort hotels. So if you're not staying here, just think what you might be missing.
Tuesday only at Kohl's. It's a flash sale you can't afford to miss. Take an extra 20% off hundreds of incredible deals store-wide. Like kids' tees starting at only $7.20. Sandals for the family, $15.99 and under. And save on small electrics. Tuesday only at Kohl's. Is your dry skin cream not doing enough? Try Eucerin Advanced Repair Cream. For 48-hour dry skin relief. Goes beyond ceramides with moisturizing factors naturally found in skin. Eucerin Advanced Repair Cream for healthier looking skin. Forget about vacuuming for weeks. The new Roomba i7 Plus with clean base automatic dirt disposal empties the Roomba bin for you. So dirt is off your hands. If it's not from iRobot, it's not a Roomba. Try Drive Up at Target, delivered to your car door so you can do more. More splash. More style. More smile. Target run and done. Corey is living with metastatic breast cancer, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of her body. She's also taking prescription Ibrance with an aromatase inhibitor, which is for postmenopausal women with hormone receptor positive, HER2 negative metastatic breast cancer as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ibrance plus letrozole was significantly more effective at delaying disease progression versus letrozole. Patients taking Ibrance can develop low white blood cell counts, which may cause serious infections that can lead to death. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are pregnant, breastfeeding, or plan to become pregnant. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite. Corey calls it her new normal because a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't. Ask your doctor about Ibrance, the #1 prescribed FDA-approved oral combination treatment for HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC.
Good morning. Annalise Coulter, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, tells us they're continuing to monitor the toxic algae after the recent flooding in Mercer County. Folks who live near the Grand Lake should avoid all contact with the water. Roads and homes, not the only things affected by Thursday's downpour and continued rain this week. Skyview 45 is giving you a bird's eye view this morning of the flooded fields. Second-generation farmer Don Schellebarger owns West D Farm nearby. He tells us the water is just too high for him to plant soybean and corn.
We were planning on starting the end of the month here. Now it's going into May right now, so that's past. So it'll probably be, whenever it dries out, and who knows when that will be.
If farmers wait too long to plant, their yields won't be as large, and that could mean you can see a jump in prices at the grocery store. Right now, it's still too early to know how the planting season will end. For the very latest local news, from Fox 45 in the morning until 9 a.m. And remember, we're always online, fox45now.com.
The tools of a RE/MAX agent. The flying camera. The mobile app. The automated alert. The experience, the tools, the know-how. That's the sign of a RE/MAX agent.
Are you in pain? I'm Dr. Richard Teeters, and I've treated thousands of people just like you who are suffering from back pain, neck pain, and headaches by using chiropractic therapy. Pain shouldn't be part of your everyday life. Call now and let Teeters Chiropractic get you back on the path to health.
Dear Allseal, when my friend and I first walked into your showroom, we couldn't believe the wide product selection of windows, doors, awnings, patio rooms, and baths. Your team's knowledge and dedication enhanced our experience and showed us options we never imagined. You offer your customers the very best products, installation, and service, all at competitive prices. And for that, we wanted to thank you.
Spring is finally here. It's time to save with Allseal Spring Spectacular Sale. Call or visit our 2 locations to learn more about our company, where we're quality driven and veteran run.
Wow, that's an aggressive yellow.
Pretty great, huh?
If you're a banana.
I find it very appealing. Kellogg's Raisin Bran with bananas. 2 scoops meet real banana slices. Done a good job raising it.
The Urban Loft Salon and Boutique in historic downtown Miamisburg, offering full-service salon and spa treatments from our innovative team of stylists. Our modern and rustic environment with our welcoming staff will make you feel radiant and refreshed. Call or visit online and make your appointment today.
Are you thinking of downsizing or right-sizing from your current home to a smaller home, condo, out of state, or a senior living facility? I can help. I'm Denise Swick with RE/MAX Performance. With nearly 30 years experience and my passion for what I do, I've been able to streamline the process of right-sizing to your next home. The process can be challenging, yet it doesn't have to be. I use a team of experts to assist from beginning to end, chosen to help you get top dollar and in the time frame that works for you. Are you ready to right-size? Let's get started.
Good morning. Kicking off this day in the 50s here. It's a little warmer than yesterday morning. Fairly cloudy, too, you'll see here. And a chance for a passing shower or two this morning. Most of us will sneak out of this morning without any rain, and a lot of us may not get any at all today, but there'll be a second push of some scattered rain during the afternoon and evening hours. So your 2 time frames are early morning and then late in the day. Highs today cooled back a little bit, though. Only in the low to mid 60s, and if you're north of I-70, you may be stuck in the 50s here for you today. So not the warmest of days, but we have some warmer air ahead of us. A little bit of wind for your Wednesday and a high temperature of 80 degrees. We'll go for 76 on Thursday, 69 degrees on Friday. There'll be a chance for some storms on Thursday, a very good chance for some storms on Thursday and on Friday. Look at the weekend. Introducing a chance for a shower on Saturday and then going to mostly sunny on Sunday. So the weekend here, not terrible, but again, a little bit cooler here, right near the average highs this time of year in the upper 60s. Have a great day.
Hello, Dayton. It's time for Joseph Chevrolet's Trade Up program. Get up to 30% off all new 2019 Chevrolets. 30% off or 0% financing. Payments as low as $89 per month. Joseph Chevrolet's Trade Up program this month only at Joseph Chevrolet.
The place you keep all that matters most, such as the things you own and the people you love, you call your home. When you need someone you trust to take care of those things, you call your hometown bank. LCNB National Bank, your bank for life.
Most people are told and they believe that there is no other alternative but swallowing pills and back surgery. But I would definitely recommend to try Dr. Polking's treatments.
Why suffer if you don't have to? Call Polking Chiropractic at 299-2900 today.
I've reached those goals. I wanted to be physically active. I didn't want the pain in my back. There is no pain in my back today.
Hello, Dayton. It's time for Joseph Chevrolet's Trade Up program. Get up to 30% off all new 2019 Chevrolets. 30% off or 0% financing. Payments as low as $89 per month. Joseph Chevrolet's Trade Up program this month only at Joseph Chevrolet.
I'll take a Coke.
Is Pepsi okay?
Is Pepsi okay? Is Pepsi okay? Ow! Our puppy's okay. Is a shooting star okay? Is the laughter of small child okay? Pepsi's more than okay. It's okay! Okay, what have we learned today?
You want a Pepsi?
I want a Pepsi.
There you go. Oh, come.
I gotta come up with my own catchphrase.
Okay!
Now I'm thinking.
I'd like to retire early.
Let's talk about this when we meet next week. Edward Jones came to manage $1 trillion in assets under care by focusing our mind on whatever's on yours.
Straight from the world's best plant scientists comes Miracle-Gro Performance Organics. It's Miracle-Gro's next big thing. Organic plant food and soil that finally work. And work. And work. And yes, we did say organic for twice the bounty. Guaranteed. Miracle-Gro Performance Organics. Organics to finally grow up. And up. And up.
Twisty feet. It's Macy's Friends and Family. Get an extra 30% off with your Macy's card or pass. And an extra 15% off any beauty purchase. Now at Macy's.
It's gonna be me.
You know what that song means. It's gonna be May. The hit NSYNC song, It's Gonna Be Me, inspiring the annual meme that goes viral on this day every year, Cecilia.
I get it now. I didn't know they were wrong until today.
This morning we celebrate Lance
Did you know this, George?
Not until I started doing GMA.
I didn't know a lot until I started doing GMA about, his things. But we can't wait to talk to Lance Bass about that and a whole lot more, including that recent performance with Ariana Grande at Coachella.
Looking forward to talking to him. That's ahead. But first, the top headlines that we're following right now. A 26-year-old Army vet is now in custody, accused of plotting a terror attack in California, targeting the popular Santa Monica Pier and Long Beach. The FBI stopped him just in time. Also this morning, 20 million people bracing for severe weather. Texas to Illinois on alert for flooding, possible tornadoes, and even snow. And we've been talking about this one all morning. Take a look at it. This is the surprise at sea. A beluga whale seen approaching a ship in Norway. So it was wearing a harness that said Equipment St. Petersburg. There was also a mount for a camera that was on the whale. The big question this morning is this whale being used to spy for Russia? The Russians deny it, but it's not a crazy question. The Russians have trained dolphins for military purposes in the past. The Norwegian fisherman who spotted this whale took all the gear off and sent it back out.
Really well.
The U.S. has done it as well. It's not that unusual. We're going to move on now and remember John Singleton.
Yes, we are.
He is the youngest director ever nominated for an Oscar for the groundbreaking Boys in the Hood. Singleton died after suffering a stroke. He's being remembered across Hollywood. Samuel L. Jackson, Ava DuVernay, Barbra Streisand, so many more, all paying tribute. And ABC's Chris Connolly is in Los Angeles to look back at Singleton's life and career. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, George. His death comes 1 month after actor Luke Perry died of a stroke at age 52. Today, the film world is remembering how the career of John Singleton opened doors for so many African Americans in Hollywood, while his movies opened eyes to realities that had long been ignored. This morning, Hollywood is grieving the loss of writer-director John Singleton, the 51-year-old passing away after suffering a stroke.
Either they don't know, don't show, I don't care about what's going on in the hood.
The trailblazing director was just 23 in 1991 when his debut film Boys in the Hood sparked a national conversation. The top flight cast that included future Oscar winners Cuba Gooding Jr. and Regina King, and in a star-making performance, Ice Cube.
We got a problem here?
Singleton gave names, faces, and deep emotion to the life and death struggles of the inner city.
So if someone tries to make a film about Black folks and they're not from the culture, how are they gonna know what's up?
Singleton became the first African American ever to be nominated for a Best Director Academy Award, and the youngest person ever.
One person who has passion about something and wants respect for whatever he or she does. And it's just nice to get a little bit of that right now.
You follow that up by pairing Janet Jackson and Tupac Shakur for Poetic Justice.
What's your name?
Lucky. He directs Samuel L. Jackson in a reboot of Sham.
Now.
And helmed Too Fast, Too Furious. His success opened doors for his African-American casts and for Black filmmakers who'd been shut out of Hollywood for so many years. Tributes from across the industry pouring in on social media. Samuel L. Jackson tweeting in part, he blazed the trail for many young filmmakers, always remaining true to who he was and where he came from. From Oscar winner and director Jordan Peele, John was a brave artist and a true inspiration. His vision changed everything. John Singleton died on Monday after suffering a stroke at the age of 51.
I'm not going to do anything out of my heart. And I have to do something that I can look at 10 years later and say, yes, I did that and I'm proud of it.
Just a massive loss. A statement from Singleton's family stated that he had quietly struggled with hypertension, adding more than 40% of African-American men and women have high blood pressure, and urging all to please recognize the symptoms by going to heart.org.
Okay, Chris, thanks very much. Let's talk more about that now with Dr. Carolyn Brockington, Director of the Stroke Center at Mount Sinai West Hospital here in New York. John Singleton, 51, Luke Perry, 52. Is it this common in young people that young?
No, we keep hearing about this over and over again, and everybody's asking what's going on. But really, the truth is that stroke can occur at any age, right? We know that the incidence increases as people get older, but it doesn't mean because you're young that you can't have a stroke. So it really emphasizes that everybody should know their risk factors, the symptoms, and what to do.
Well, let us know. What are the risk factors? What are the symptoms? What should we look for?
Wow, that's a good question. But a lot of the risk factors we know, right? Medical conditions that increase someone's risk of stroke. So that's high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, smoking, inactivity. All those things are risk factors. So it's really time to partner with your doctor to figure out, hey, do I have any of these risk factors? Because really the good news is 80% of strokes we think can be prevented, but you have to identify what your risk factor is and modify it appropriately. So if you have blood pressure, maybe you have to diet a little, maybe you have to exercise, maybe you have to take medicine. But if you can control it, you can really reduce the chance of stroke and other conditions that happen from high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney disease, etc. So it's just prevention. Prevention is key, right? It's easier to deal with something before it happens rather than after.
You just mentioned it, but this really is the bottom line. We can't say it enough. Things you should be on the lookout for if you're trying to reduce this risk.
Right. Well, the thing about stroke is that it happens suddenly, right? It's not going to happen over weeks and months. It's going to happen over seconds and minutes. So we want people to know act fast is the key, because we want people to realize that if they have symptoms right away, it's not time to figure this out on the phone and ask somebody. You have to go to the emergency room right away, because we know that time is brain. The longer the time the brain isn't getting enough blood flow, the more likely you're going to have permanent injury. So if you're coming right away, people do well.
And remind us, we had the symptoms up just quickly, but remind us what those symptoms are.
So there are a lot of symptoms, but if you think of act fast, so face, if suddenly your face is drooping, that might be a problem. A is for arms. If you can't keep your arms straight, maybe that's a problem. Speech, suddenly it's garbled like you're drunk or you can't speak very well. And T is for time. Come to the hospital right away, right?
Fast.
Yes.
Doctor, thank you so much.
Yeah, but what a loss. I mean, his vision and how he stayed true to himself.
Certainly.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Doctor, very much. Coming up in our next half hour, the brand new sunscreen rankings from Consumer Reports just out. 82 products tested, which came out on top. And next, more of our interview with former VP Joe Biden and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, what he believes sets him apart from the other Democrats running. Come on back. Can be done.
Where does your almond milk come from? Almond Breeze starts here. With our almond trees in our Blue Diamond Orchard in California. My parents' job is to look after them.
At Almond Breeze, we only use California-grown Blue Diamond almonds in our almond milk.
And it's my job to test the product.
The best almonds make the best almond milk. Blue Diamond Almond Breeze. And now the best almonds also make the best almond milk creamer.
Cover the jet.
Building a better bank starts with looking at something old and saying, really? So we built Capital One Cafes with savings and checking accounts you can open from here in 5 minutes. This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
I'm Brian. I was in the military for 18 years, but I smoked and I got heart disease. My tip is, it's hard to serve your country when you're too weak to put on your uniform.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT now for help getting free medication.
Our Princess Catherine of Aragon.
God will help me with the prince. Only then can I protect Spain. What will happen to him now?
You are his brother's widow. It is forbidden.
came here to forge an alliance with England. And that is what I'll do.
If you just want a slice of pizza, you don't buy the whole pie. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why pay for more than you need? For as low as $20 a month, you can get talk, text, and data from Consumer Cellular with no contract and connections on the nation's largest wireless networks. You'll also receive award-winning support. Consumer Cellular has received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service again. Plus, AARP members get exclusive discounts. Switch to Consumer Cellular today. With our 30-day guarantee, it's completely risk-free. Call, go online, or find us at Target.
This kitchen, open concept, complete with a modern art gallery, and the master bath, masterpiece. A whole gym! Chills. Looking good, Steve. But the only problem?
Who are you?
I don't live here, because the real estate agent never showed us this place.
Hurry into Ashley Home Store for the lowest prices of the season. Come in today for our best prices on Ashley Suite mattresses starting at just $119. The lowest prices of the season are happening right now at America's #1 furniture and mattress store, Ashley Home Store. This is home.
If you were cold this winter, you're going to be hot this summer. So now's the time to get your home insulated with our USA Premium Foam. Hey, you don't want to miss this. We can insulate your whole house for only $99 a month, interest-free. Unfortunately, that deal does go away at the end of the month. Now, we've insulated over 80,000 homes. Why haven't we done yours? So beat the heat. $99 a month, interest-free. All you have to do is give us a call.
USA Insulation.
And we're back now for more of Robin's exclusive interview with Joe and Joe Biden. We did it yesterday in Pittsburgh, and he's joining, as you know, a very crowded field. I asked him why he decided to run again for the third time. You are the 20th Democrat to announce for president. What differentiates you from the other 19?
I'm running for three basic reasons. One, I talked a little bit about to restore the soul of America, back to the decency we represent, the honor, the integrity of this country. And secondly, I'm going to talk here today about restoring the backbone of America, which is the working class, the middle class. And this time we're going to bring everybody along. Leave no one behind. And thirdly, the reason I'm running, we have to unite the country. And that's what we're going to be talking a lot about, because we can't stay fractured like we are now.
And if I could jump in here, the one thing I think that does differentiate you is his experience. I mean, he doesn't need any on-the-job training. He jumps right in. He's been vice president. So from day one, Joe can take everything.
You also have referred to yourself as an Obama-Biden Democrat. People look at that and say, well, is it you running for a third Obama term? How would your presidency be substantially different?
I'm really proud of serving with Barack, with the president. But look, it's a new time, a new day. We're moving on to deal with the things that are within our grasp. I've worked my whole life. Finishing the job of equality for women. Finish the job in terms of what we're going to do about the environment. Make bold new steps forward.
What would you say to the Trump voter, the Trump supporter, who looks at the economy and sees very strong numbers? Here in Pennsylvania, where the unemployment is at a record low of 3.9%.
Well, what I'd say is, did you get any benefit from the tax cut? Have your wages really gone up to what you think you deserve? Do your employers treat you with any more respect and dignity than they did before? What's the story? Ask these folks. Ask the folks in this state. I know the state pretty well. And the fact of the matter is that they're not getting their fair share. The American people, the people who built this country, are ordinary Americans who've done extraordinary things from neighborhoods like we come from.
No, actually, they're slaves who didn't get paid anything.
It continues to divide the country. For example, ask them how hard it is to get their kid to college. 6 in 10 jobs right now require something in a high school degree. Ask them how easy it is to afford it. But why do we give a tax break to Wall Street, but we don't give a tax break for significant tax break for daycare or for childcare? Why don't we do that?
Is it hard to get that message across when people look at their bottom line and it's better than it was 2-4 years ago?
But the bottom line for the vast majority of working class and middle class people is not significantly better. It's not significantly better. And they know they're not being treated very well. And this is about restoring dignity, the dignity of work. And it's not happening right now.
The Mueller report. What was your initial reaction to the findings?
One, there was Russian interference. Without any question, Russian interference, number one. Number two, there are elements of the report in the second phase of the report, about 7 or 8 things that are left undone. It was not within his purview to investigate, he thought. The Congress is attempting to take that up. And what the Congress should do, and they are doing, is investigate that. And if, in fact, they block the investigation, they have no alternative to go to the only other constitutional resort they have is impeachment. But my job in the meantime is to make sure he's not back as president of the United States of America.
Donald Trump is very confident that should you win the nomination, that he could beat you easily. Are you as confident that you can win the nomination and defeat him?
Whether I win the nomination, that's going to depend on the Democrats. And whether or not I beat Donald Trump is going to depend on the American people. But like I said, everybody knows who Donald Trump is.
I'm confident.
His wife jumping in like that. But it was interesting, his take on the economy, because, people look at it at face value. We were there in Pennsylvania, and as I said, the unemployment rate is at an all-time low, 3.9, but you heard his response.
And the campaign is going to turn on whether the Democrats can make that case or whether President Trump can effectively run on the economic record right now.
Yes. And we're going to hear from his wife, too.
Yes. And we're going to have much more tonight on Nightline for the interview.
Great interview, Robin. Coming up, cue the music. You guys know what that means. What is our play of the day?
What would I say to somebody living with HIV? Keep being you and ask your doctor about Biktarvy. Biktarvy is a complete once-a-day treatment used for HIV in certain adults. It's not a cure, but with one small pill, Biktarvy fights HIV with 3 different medicines to help you get to undetectable. That means the amount of virus is so low it can't be measured in lab tests. Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare life-threatening side effects include buildup of lactic acid and liver problems. Do not take Biktarvy if you take tofetilide or rifampin. Tell your doctor about all the medicines and supplements you take if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, or if you have kidney or liver problems, including hepatitis. If you have hepatitis B, do not.
I couldn't have asked about my parents, but like most people, they didn't have anyone to teach them the best financial habits. So we changed that. As a financial health coach, I help people every day. I try to put myself in their shoes from my own experience. I connect to them because I've been there. Helping families like mine save a little money changes everything. This is personalized guidance. This is Wells Fargo.
Right now, when you buy a Red Nose at Walgreens, you can help a child live a healthier life. Walgreens, trusted since 1901.
Ready to get positively radiant? Aveeno's sheer formula packed with pure soy evens tone and texture. The skin looks like this, and you feel like this. Aveeno Positively Radiant. Get skin happy.
Running to Hot Pot, running to Hot Pot.
This is awesome!
That was so freaking awesome. That was insane!
An alarming surge in the measles outbreak. The #1 myth is autism.
Yes.
And there's no link to vaccination.
Absolutely not.
Do we know if they've been able to save anything?
You're all waiting to see. You still smell this.
We're back at 7:48. Dylan joins us. Good morning. And we move now to an unexpected moment. Happened during a graduation ceremony at Brigham Young University. It's getting a lot of attention this morning.
One of the Mormon school's valedictorians used his speech to proudly reveal he's gay. Here's NBC's Joe.
Well, I can tell that by looking at him.
Congratulations. At first, this commencement speech, captured on shaky cell phone video and delivered by Matt Easton, may sound like others you've heard until the 4-minute mark.
As such, I stand before my family, friends, and graduating class today to say that I am proud to be a gay son of God.
Coming out is hard enough on its own, yet Easton did it in front of thousands of people at a school founded by the Mormon Church. For this political science valedictorian at Brigham Young University, there was no better stage to deliver his message.
I'm not broken. I love women and important to the plan of our great creator. Each of us are.
The speech was surprising to many. That's because the Mormon Church considers same-sex marriage a serious transgression, and while Brigham Young's honor code does not ban gay students, it does forbid all forms of physical intimacy that give expression to homosexual feelings. But Easton ran his speech by the dean's office, and it was approved. Even some of his relatives didn't know he was gay until this moment.
4 years ago, it would have been impossible for me to imagine that I would come out to my entire college. It is a phenomenal feeling, and it is a victory for me in and of itself.
In Utah, the debate over faith and sexuality has gradually shifted in recent years. Each summer, the state hosts Love Loud, a music festival to show support for LGBTQ youth who are far more likely to attempt suicide than their straight peers. Love Loud was created by Dan Reynolds, a Mormon and lead singer of the popular rock band Imagine Dragons.
What? Because of this event, you've heard from young people who've felt comfortable to come out to their family, right?
I've heard story after story of child who has come out to their family after Love Loud because they felt there was a safe place to do it.
For Matt Easton, that safe place was on stage.
I can promise you your story is important and your place in this world is valuable. Remember this.
He hopes his speech helps others realize they're not alone. For Today, Joe Fryer, NBC News.
It took a lot of courage to do that in that setting, and imagine some of his family members, he said, didn't even realize it, didn't even know.
And he went on to say apparently yesterday after the reaction started to pour in that he felt solidarity and support, and especially from the last group that I expected it from that Eastern district.
Well, Jeff, to have this morning, it is one of the most romantic movie moments ever. Gosh, I'm getting chills just looking at this. The iconic boombox scene from Say Anything. Al, did you just get cheers? No, come on, maybe a little. The 30th anniversary of Say Anything with a really special guest in the movie.
And the very latest, live from Windsor, as the royal baby watch rolls on after you look at this.
Some things are out of your control, like bedhead.
Where's my Drindle?
It's National Car Rental. At National, I'm in total control. I can just skip the counter and choose any car in the aisle I like. So I can run fast without getting a hair out of place. Hey. Control. Go National. Go like a pro.
Are you ready?
1, 2, here we go.
Alive gives you more vitamins and minerals than leading brands. Because when you start with more, you own the morning. Alive.
Look, Grandpa, I got you the Echo Show. You can ask it to play music or check the weather. Valerie, Alexa, at 6 p.m. my grandpa, your favorite desserts in the fridge.
Okay, I'll set a reminder.
Alexa, play the song that goes Valerie.
Wake up to great tasting flavors. Barbie breakfast biscuits. Flavors like delicious blueberry or decadent baked in a tasty biscuit. Barbie breakfast biscuits. It's time to taste the day.
It's tough to quit smoking cold turkey, so genetics can help you quit slow turkey. No longer support genetics is proven to help you quit. With genetics, you can keep smoking it first and leaves things working. She excuses the urge. And so when the day arrives, you'll be more ready to kiss cigarettes goodbye. When you try to quit smoking, with or without genetics, you need to make it seem symptoms. This is genetics never run away from changes in behavior, aggression, hostility, depression, suicidal thoughts or actions, seizures, lower smarter blood vessel problems, sleepwalking, or life-threatening allergic and skin reactions, decrease alcohol use. These options drive more operating machinery. Tell your doctor if you've had mental health problems. The most common side effect is not quit smoking and smoker and talk to your doctor about genetics. I can make you rich enough to confess expenses. What would I have to do? Bring me the back. Yes. Tickets on sale now.
Discover Caress with Floral Fusion Oil for caressable soft skin. Indulge in the rich lather and delicate scent. Pamper yourself. Get caressibly soft skin with Caress. I'm so impressed.
I really want you to stay.
I did not expect that level of greatness because I associated you with Adam.
School can be challenging for a lot of kids, whether it's in one subject or school overall. Some students need stronger study skills to get ahead, other students need to improve ACT SAT scores. Sylvan Learning will help your child achieve their personal best. Call Sylvan in Beaver Creek or Centerville today.
If you were cold this winter, you're going to be hot this summer. So now is the time to get your home insulated with our USA Premium Foam. Hey, you don't want to miss this. We can insulate your whole house for only $99 a month, interest free. Unfortunately, that deal does go away at the end of the month. Now, we've insulated over 80,000 homes. Why haven't we done yours? So beat the heat. $99 a month, interest free. All you have to do is give us a call. USA Insulation.
Get to Putty's Flooring America for our Tough Stuff sale. Save up to 40% on waterproof flooring, including durable laminate and easy-to-clean LVT. Looking for carpet? Get installation free. Special financing, too. From WTTS, the station that's working for you, this is 2 News.
Good morning, I'm John Cloud. The popular headline this morning: the search for a gunman continues after 4 people were found dead in Chester Park. Officers discovered 3 women and 1 man dead from gunshot wounds Sunday night. Police say all 4 victims lived in the apartment and a family member found the bodies. Investigators say this is the deadliest shooting in their community since 2003. They're calling on law enforcement across the region, as well as the public, to help them catch the killer. Anyone with information should call Westchester Police. And now Storm Team 2 meteorologist Jamie Chirosik is checking in with an updated look at your forecast. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning. We won't have the umbrella again today. You won't need it all day, but there will be periods where we may have some scattered showers and thunderstorms to deal with. We'll see highs near 67, otherwise mostly cloudy, not as breezy as yesterday. Partly cloudy overnight, slight shower chance will drop to 60. And tomorrow will be another windy, warm day with a high of 78 and a chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. You might notice it feeling a little more humid as well. Thursday, there's a really good chance for rain with highs in the mid-70s. We'll cool off a bit Friday with some morning showers. And some showers are still possible Saturday, but Sunday's looking dry.
All right, thank you, Jamie, for that coverage of all today's top stories, plus live Dr. 2HD. If you tune in to WCW right now, we will catch you again by another 25 minutes. Have a great Tuesday.
Dreaming of your perfect custom storage solution? At California Closets, we turn those dreams into reality. Visit our showroom to explore our amazing finishes and accessories and feel the quality of our construction and materials. And right now, you can save up to $1,000 during our lighting and accessory sales event. Call us today at 1-800-CAL-CLOSETS for your free design consultation or visit us online at CaliforniaClosets.com.
You know my law firm, Dyer, Graffelman & Schultz. You probably also know that we handle lots of auto accident cases. But what you may not know is that for the last 20 years, we've been recognized in this book as one of the top-rated law firms in America. We also want you to know that we've handled numerous cases involving medical malpractice, birth injuries, Social Security disability, workers' compensation, employment law, pharmaceutical litigation. So if you're injured and need a lawyer, call 1-800-INJURED and get the tiger on your side.
I'm Paige, and well, the little thing that I like about the grilled chicken sandwich is that it's picture perfect. It's juicy, and it just has all the right combinations. I think I can be considered a grilled chicken sandwich influencer.
My name is Frank, and the little thing I like about the grilled chicken sandwich is the first bite. I love how juicy the chicken is, but there's also the tomatoes and the lettuce, and it's incredible. Make sure you get it with waffle fries. That's my favorite.
Check out the No Money Down lease at Jeff Weiler Hyundai in Springfield.
Watch 2 News first at 4. We're working for you weekdays beginning at 4.
It's 8 o'clock on today. Coming up behind bars, a U.S. Army veteran arrested after the FBI said he was plotting a terror attack at a California park.
He was taken into custody after he took receipt of what he thought were pressure cooker bombs.
This morning, how authorities tracked him down. Plus, what to expect when you're expecting loyalty with the world watching and waiting. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle vowing to keep their birth plans private. How will we know when he or she arrives? We're live at Windsor Castle with the details. And Studio 1A goes Hollywood. Stars Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen are here live to talk about their new movie, Long Shot.
Well, what's better for you? I should try to get to know you better if you have.
I actually have fun.
7 minutes to Henry.
And we will honor an 80s classic. Say Anything turns 30. The look back that'll have you looking for a boombox to hold up. Today, Tuesday, April 30th, 2019. I'm so good for you.
Good morning to my first graders in Breckenridge, Minnesota. From the University of Arizona, bear down.
Today is my 65th birthday.
My smart nephew Oliver.
And our kids, Camden and Leah. We're watching the Today Show from Crystal Beach, Texas.
I'm 25 today from Portland, Oregon.
Morning, everybody. Welcome back to Today on this Tuesday morning. That's right, Jenna. Hold your boombox as high as possible because an American classic is turning 30 years old today. The movie, Say Anything, for a certain generation. This evokes memories. It evokes tears. Jenna, if your arms are getting tired, just keep on lifting it up. You know what else is there? Haley Scott. Oh, we're so thrilled to have her here and catch up. And I mean, this is my most exciting part of my day.
You haven't been able to contain your.
I know. I love this movie so much. So many people here talking about it. It was a moment in history. It's just really fun to look back, especially with one of the stars. Lloyd Dobler couldn't be here, but that's all right because we have Diane Court. Busy morning this morning. Let's get right to the news at 8 o'clock. The FBI says it has derailed a plot to set off bombs and cause mass casualties in Southern California. The suspect, they say, a U.S. Army veteran and alleged ISIS sympathizer. NBC's Justice correspondent Pete Williams joins us. He's got the latest on this. Pete, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. The FBI says he wanted to shoot police officers in their patrol cars or bomb an LA freeway or the Santa Monica Pier before he settled on Long Beach as his target. Federal prosecutors say 26-year-old Mark Stephen Domingo, an Army vet who served 4 months in Afghanistan in 2012, came to the FBI's attention in early March when he wrote on an internet message group that he wanted to retaliate for last month's shooting spree at mosques in New Zealand. Investigators say he ultimately decided to attack a white supremacist rally planned for last weekend in Long Beach, but admitted he had no idea how to build a bomb. They say he did buy nails to be used as shrapnel. He was arrested when he accepted what he thought were working bombs, but they were actually duds made by somebody he thought was like-minded, but who was actually working for the FBI. Savannah?
All right, Pete, thank you very much.
The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating Monday's deadly crash of a tourist helicopter in suburban Honolulu. Witnesses said they heard a loud bang, then saw the chopper burning in the middle of the street. Neighbors tried to put out the flame with garden hoses. All 3 people aboard that chopper were killed. Aircraft debris landed on homes and cars, but no one on the ground was hurt.
Former Vice President Joe Biden laid down a direct challenge to President Trump during his first campaign rally of the 2020 race. Biden appeared before a crowd of union workers in Pittsburgh, hoping to win back blue-collar voters who supported Trump in 2016. Biden urged them to choose, quote, truth over lies, and called the president the only president who's decided not to represent the whole country.
I'm going to change that so millionaires and billionaires don't pay lower taxes than firefighters, teachers. The country wasn't built by Wall Street bankers, CEOs, and hedge fund managers. It was built by you. It was built by the great American middle class.
President Trump has responded. He said Biden, quote, obviously doesn't know that Pennsylvania is having one of the best economic years in its history.
Airline passengers have chosen a new favorite in the annual American Customer Satisfaction Index. They have ranked Alaska Airlines as their top carrier up 2 spots from last year. The index is based on things like on-time arrivals, baggage handling, and cleanliness. JetBlue was runner-up. Last year's top airline, Southwest, came in third. Overall, passenger satisfaction is up slightly over last year.
All right, let's get a morning boost. A 12-year-old girl got the birthday present of a lifetime. Her mom took her on a trip and let the flight attendant reveal the surprise.
We have a very special guest on board. Her name is Riley Remington. She just turned 12 years old. She got a surprise trip with her mom. Riley has no idea what's coming her way for this trip. Tonight, Riley is going to see her favorite singer speak in Los Angeles. On Friday night, as if that wasn't enough, she's going to be going to another concert. She's going to be seeing Sugarland. Riley, we hope this is the best birthday ever. We're happy to have you on board today. And if you don't know who Riley is, she's the one with beautiful, bright, pink hair. She's sitting in room 11. And if you have a chance to just wish her a happy birthday, that'd make Riley feel really special today. Happy birthday, Riley.
Okay. First you have me laughing, now you have me crying. That is so dear. As you can tell, those are her favorite performers. Her mom, what a good one, giving her a surprise and a trip of a lifetime. And just adorable.
Mom of the year.
Yeah.
And it's so good to see that she was genuinely thankful to me.
For sure.
Just ahead, Charlize and Seth. We're going to talk to the long shot stars about their new movie that's blending 2 true topics, politics and love.
But first, let's check in with Kier. He's on Royal Baby Watch. There he is, Windsor Castle. We'll get the latest right after this.
It's where rock meets roll, side meets kid, and best meets friend. This Mother's Day, show your love with a gift from the Love and Be Loved collection by Kay, a symbol of your inseparable bond. It's where together meets forever. Now save 30% store-wide, exclusively at Kay.
No, Dad. Tidora. Mom, these things are there. They're everywhere. It's comforting. We need a giant monster on our side. My God, it's love. Oh, yeah, sure. Let's bring him in for a beer. Experiencing on Max May 31st.
It's very difficult for the family because you two go through everything that they go through. Maybe not the same way, but you're still there.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT now for help getting free medication. Allergies with sinus congestion and pressure. You will find relief at the pharmacy. Count the powerful Claritin D for the leading allergy spray only relieves 6 symptoms. Claritin D relieves 8, including sinus congestion and pressure. Claritin D relieves more. We hide hotel names, so you can score 4-star hotels at 2-star prices. HOTWIRD.com. Let's go.
Bye, Mom. Thanks for breakfast, Mom.
With quality ingredients like roasted hazelnuts and cocoa, Nutella is sure to bring a smile breakfast time. Nutella, stretch out happy. Show your appreciation with a limited edition Nutella jar. Baby, I'm not even a gal. The only thing you have to say is make your jaw drop, stay on my drop, make you stay on my drop, make your jaw drop, make you stay on my
We're back, 8:09. Jenna joins us. This is our royal baby right here. Thank you. But we also are waiting for the royal baby. Yeah, very exciting.
Around the world. Yeah. Waiting with bated breath for the first sign that the littlest Sussex has arrived. Today's international correspondent, Kier Simmons, at his post, Baby Watch Day 2. Kier, what's the word?
Still no baby, Craig. We're almost in May. Still no baby. Good morning, Craig. And good morning, Savannah. But listen, fans think that they might be onto something, and we're going to show you how to do this. If you type some names into the Palace website, the names Arthur, James, or Alexander, it looks like maybe they've reserved those pages, which has fans asking, could it be a boy? Their affection for children has been unmistakable from the beginning. Any day now, Harry and Meghan will welcome their very own child into the world. But the big question here is when? Conference ceremony outside Windsor Castle this morning, the changing of the guard. But no news of any change to Meghan's pregnancy. US visitors to Windsor Castle hoping the royal baby arrives soon.
And I wish it would happen while we're here. It's going to be tomorrow.
It's going to be tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow at about noon.
Royal watchers, hoping to learn the baby's gender and even name, thought they'd stumble on more than a coincidence overnight. Type 3 names, Arthur, James, and Alexander into the royal URL, and the palace website appears. Any other names like, Kia, for example, and the message, not found, comes up. It's all speculation. Even a street voting booth, girl or boy, apparently evenly split. Harry and Meghan are keeping it all under wraps, and many here support their privacy.
But I love that she's being really guarded about it. I think that just with all the kind of, commotion around them, it's just nice to get a bit of privacy.
Everyone is just going to have to wait. At this Windsor tea store, they have just the thing for encouraging labour. Now, is it true that tea can help a pregnant woman have a baby?
Raspberry, which is an exclusive tea that we sell, that can help to induce the pregnancy.
Raspberry helps induce. It's the raspberry that's the thing, is it?
Yeah.
But no, inside knowledge. Have you had any American very pregnant women come in the past few days?
I had a pregnant lady the other day.
You did?
Yeah.
Was she called Megan?
No.
Any anxious-looking red-headed guys come in and ask for tea?
No.
No?
No, hopefully soon.
Please let the baby come soon, because if you don't hear this often from a correspondent, guys, but honestly, we're going to run out of things to talk about here. At least we know, though, that it's not going to be a Prince Kia. We also tried typing in Princess Savannah and Prince Craig, and I can exclusively reveal that didn't work out.
Rats.
Yes.
Albert could be one of them. Albert could be. Here, I thought there was a lot of talk.
Albert is good.
I thought there was a lot of talk that Diana was the odds-on favorite.
Wouldn't that be great? I really think if it's a girl, and we don't even know whether it's a girl or boy, that they will be tempted to call her Diana, and it would be history coming full circle. And I think a lot of people would just love that, right?
He's outside Windsor Castle. We'll be checking in with him over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's not going to be leaving at all. Thank you, here. Dylan's here. You got pop star for Carson?
Yes, I do. Good morning, everybody. And we have a very special pop star today. This month marks 30 years since the release of Say Anything, a heartwarming movie following the budding love between Lloyd, played by John Cusack, and Diane, played by Ione Skye.
I need you.
You do?
Everything else means nothing to me. If I hurt you again, I'll die.
Never make it. Give her a chance. It's worth it.
I love you.
What?
I love you. How many more times do I have to say it?
One more time would be nice.
The Tribeca Film Festival is holding a special screening of the film tonight.
Well, here to tell us more and to celebrate Ione Sky. Great, Diane. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you. What do you think when you see that? You see those little clips?
Wow, what do I think? Well, we shot that scene a few times, so I think I must have been doing not a great job. But yeah, I just think how cute John Cusack was.
You're pretty cute too. Did you know when you were doing it that it was going to become this iconic movie that so many people feel connected to?
I mean, I didn't know the boombox thing would be something, because you can't really predict that. But I mean, I knew where I was, like it was a studio film and Jim Brooks and John Cusack, so I sort of knew what was going on. But I think halfway through, everybody was like, wow, this is going to be amazing.
What happened in the last 30 years? I feel like movies like this don't exist the way they used to. I mean, they were formulaic, but each one was so special, and they just, I don't know if it was the age I watched it or what, but they're just so important to my growing up. But you don't see that anymore.
No, I mean, it's very earnest and kind of simple, and nowadays it's kind of a little more sophisticated, and I don't know.
There wasn't, and there's not like snark in these characters, but they're so appealing and kind of surprising and original.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Cameron Crowe also, he's just very earnest and passionate, but also very intelligent, and that mixture makes it kind of, just like a classic kind of love story film.
Did you and John stay in touch after that?
We did. Every few years we would hang out, and I mean, we really, really love each other. I mean, really.
I can speak for at least the three of us. I remember where I was when I watched that movie. When you think back for 30 years ago, what comes to mind? Was it as fun as it looked?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was kind of in heaven. I mean, for me, that was, I mean, I don't know if it was like the third thing I had done, but it was exactly what I wanted to be doing.
It was kind of a breakout.
Yeah, it was sort of, I'd done an independent film and some, I don't know, I guess another kind of studio picture, but I was just, for me, it was so, I don't know, and Cameron Crowe, the way I sort of met him, we kind of met through friends, and I don't know, it was just all perfect, and I was really,
it was all organic.
It was kind of organic.
What do people say when they realize it's you? What do you hear most often about the movie or Diane Court or Lloyd?
People relate to the characters because they're both unusual outcast characters. So sometimes it's, a man will say, I was Diane Court, or, or just, I think just having these outcast kind of characters, people really related to them. And it's nice to be in something that people who've seen the film feel so close to.
What would be the boombox scene nowadays?
That's cool. I don't know. I mean, because it's like a serenade, a modern day serenade. Because you can't have someone like playing. You could, but it was a very clever serenade. So I don't know.
It would be like a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
And you're talking about it at the Tribeca Film Festival. Tell us about that event.
Well, that's, I guess, so every year they pick a film, but usually it's like a, Godfather, I don't know. And so I think the people deciding thought, why don't we do something from the 90s that,
do something like the rom-com.
Exactly.
Yeah, bring back the rom-com.
Yeah.
Right, we're all about the rom-com. We have somebody there and Seth Rogen sitting over there. They have a new rom-com. I don't catch Jamaican is going to say anything.
Easy. Easy.
Right? Say anything. Do you love saying anything?
I do love saying anything. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Taekwondo, sport of the future.
He's literally saying anything.
Hi, Omi. What a pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for so many good memories. We love that.
Yeah,
thank you.
At 18 now, Mr. Roker, good time to check the forecast. I'm surprised you guys didn't start crying.
I brought a tissue.
You were ready to.
I was that close when she said, I love you. I mean,
That's right. Love's not supposed to hurt. It doesn't tell John Cusack. Anyway, you're looking at some strong storms in the mid section of the country, go back behind it, and some wet weather exiting the Northeast. But for today, we've got 21 million people at risk from Texas all the way into Illinois for damaging winds, hail up to 2 inches, and some strong tornadoes. And tomorrow, we've got 18 million people at risk for just about the same area. We're looking rainfall-wise anywhere from Texas all the way into the upper Midwest, about 3 to 4 inches of rain, but 5 to 7 inches possible. You can't shush Seth Rogen. Don't try it. Anyway, and we are looking at very warm weather down through the southeast, strong storms in the midsection of the country, snowy up through the plains. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Jamie Drosick. We do have the chance of a few passing showers, maybe a rumble of thunder this morning. A lot of dry time as we head into the afternoon, but still carrying that slight rain chance, especially as we go into our evening hours. And then a lot of the overnight looks dry, but more showers and even a few rumbles of thunder will be possible as we head through the day Wednesday. Today will still be mild. We're pushing into the upper 60s.
This Storm Team 2 forecast was brought to you by Right Pat Credit Union.
What's your latest weather, Savannah?
Sorry, I just kicked Charlize Theron. Sorry. And now to Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen stars with the new film Long Shot. Charlize plays the U.S. Secretary of State with her sights set on the Oval Office, and Seth plays a journalist hired to be a key member of her team. Take a look.
I need some writers to punch up my speeches. I read your work and I really like it.
That's wow.
You mentioned you were between jobs. That's a really good fit.
It's so nice of you to think of me at all, honestly, with everything going on in your head.
I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Seth, good morning. That was the morning show approved clip right
I say it's hard to find a clip from this movie that you can show at 8:20 in the morning.
I know, and I'm not surprised at you, Seth, because we've seen you in these settings before, but Charlize, this is a little body for you. Little did you know. Side of you.
I know. I hit my 40s and just became free.
Let's go. So Seth didn't have to talk you into it?
No. Oh my God, no. No, I've always been a huge fan. Stop.
It'd be funny if you did this under duress.
That was your powers of persuasion.
No, not at all. I would never. I have no powers.
It's just body of work.
My body, yeah.
Your body.
My body.
Your body.
Yeah.
Well, so I hope I read this right. This project was with you, and you brought it to Charlize, right?
Yeah, a long time ago.
I'm going to pick my leading lady, and it's going to be Charlize Theron.
Yeah, that is what I said. Of anyone, I threw a dart at a board. No,
I feel like many people would pick her.
I mean, who would? I mean, it wasn't. I hoped it was a mutual picking thing. It was not as like that. But I'm a huge fan of hers, and I thought she would be great for the film, and I also thought she could help make it better. And over the last around 5 years, we've been working on it together, developing it and trying to turn it into something that we would both be really proud of and happy to wake up early and come and talk about. And we are. So thank God.
We're just talking about the romantic comedy and sort of the loss of the great romantic comedy. It obviously completely hinges on the chemistry.
Yes.
When you guys first met to talk about it, did you know right away, okay, we're going to click, this is going to work?
We definitely clicked. We were very like-minded. We wanted to make the same movie. I think all of those things are very important as you're developing something, knowing that you're on the same road.
Yeah.
And you're not struggling with outside forces. Like the creative thing is always a back and forth, but at least there's not we had the exact same taste when it came to what we wanted this to feel like. I mean, we both loved a lot of romantic comedies from the 80s, like movies that we grew up with, and then there's been a lack of them for the last couple of years, like the last decade.
Yeah.
So we know they're hard to make. They're hard to make really good. It's a tall order to get everything just balanced, funny enough, romantic enough. But I felt like with this guy, I was in good hands. I felt like somehow it would work with him.
It kind of has that Harry Met Sally feel in the sense of, I mean, not that you're totally unattainable, but kind of unattainable. And here's Seth, who's like you fall in love with, and you see and realize what the qualities are that attracted you. You can't stand. What is he just going to get a big ego and not?
Yes, exactly. I think we really wanted to make sure that I actually think
if we did our work in the writing, they should seem like a couple that you not only believe would get together, but that you're hoping would get together. And that, I think, is when you watch the movie, as bizarre as it seems that we would be together, I think it actually seems, again, not only like we would be together, but that we should be together. And I think that, is really what we were trying to do. And it doesn't seem like we are nearly as mismatched as you would assume, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called The Long Shot. I assume it's sort of the long shot romance. Maybe a long shot bid to be president, double entendre. Have you ever had a long shot thing where it felt like, this didn't seem like it would work out, but it did? Or can you think of your own personal long shot?
Yeah, I mean, for me, for sure, it was leaving home at 16 and in South Africa and an idea of what I was going to do, or if I was going to ever even be able to do what I thought I would like to do. And when I think back on that now, that was somewhat naive and crazy, but I'm so grateful that it happened. But it could have gone so wrong.
It does seem like, sometimes I think about this, I think, the things I did back then, the risks I took, I would never have the guts now to do that. I'm so glad I was really young and dumb and just went for it.
Exactly.
What about you, Seth?
Yeah, I dropped out of high school, and that wasn't that. I was going to fail anyway, so that wasn't that bold of a decision. And I moved to LA when I was 16, also, or 17, and I think there wasn't a long line of Canadian, Jewy, chubby comedians. So I guess that was kind of a long shot ultimately, but I think it worked. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I did it. Ultimately, I think, take bet on yourself, people. How's that for a moral?
I like it.
I hate this angle you keep using in the back of my head, because it really did. Go back to the shot over my shoulder onto her. Yes. Great.
You like that?
It's nice. That's everyone's dream angle,
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better, like with our cardless ATMs.
Where's my ATM card?
Actually, you don't need your card to get cash. All you need is your phone and the Fifth Third mobile app to access your money.
Wow, that is convenient.
Oh, that sounds way easier. Get cash with just your phone. This is banking a Fifth Third better.
You really hungry? And I have the pie for you. My super combo. I start with my classic combo, piled high with meats and veggies. Then I add on more, like sliced ham, fresh green peppers, juicy tomatoes, and lots of cheddar cheese. Treat your family to my super combo. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
From WDTN, the station that's working for you, this is 2 News.
Good morning, I'm John Seibel. Popular headlines this morning. The family of 3 is in a hospital after a hit-and-run crash in Greene County. The Ohio State Highway Patrol says a car hit an SUV on US 35 westbound near Springtown Road just before 11 last night. That SUV with 3 people inside rolled over in the crash. 2 adults and a 3-year-old child were taken to Greene Memorial Hospital. Troopers say all 3 are expected to recover. OSP is looking for a white car with damage to its right front section. US 35 westbound was closed for cleanup, but all lanes are back open now. Our Storm Team 2 meteorologist Jamie Chirozik is tracking updates in your forecast. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning. Well, we are looking at some unsettled weather to continue today. There will be a lot of dry time, but we still have that chance of a spotty shower or thunderstorm. We may see something yet this morning and then later in the afternoon and evening. A high of 67 now, mostly cloudy otherwise, and not as breezy as yesterday. Partly cloudy tonight will only drop to 60. There'll still be the slight chance of a shower. And then tomorrow, a windy, warmer day with some scattered showers and thunderstorms and a high of 78. In your Storm Team 2 7-day forecast, Thursday, there's a really good chance of rain. It looks like it'll dry out over the weekend.
All right, thank you, Jamie, for live coverage of all the day's top stories, plus live with 2HD. You can tune in today and CW right now. We'll see you again in about 25 minutes. A great Tuesday.
Live interactive weather tools online at WDTN.com.
We've been coming back to museum for 2 years now. Our older son was getting a good grade once he was getting the standardized testing, and he was almost a full grade.
Within month, a lot of those problems went away. He wasn't struggling with the homework. He wasn't fighting the homework. I have friends who tell me their kids are struggling in math, and I say, you really need to check out Mathnasium. Boys go to Mathnasium all through the summer, and to really help them out when school starts in the fall.
Mathnasium, we're changing lives through math.
This baseball season, Care Source salutes our local veteran heroes. Each month, we'll pay tribute to one local veteran at a Dayton Dragons game at Fifth Third Field. Each winner will also receive VIP treatment for the night, including pregame activities, seating in a luxury suite at the ballpark, and a special gift. It's the Veteran Salute Program, presented by Care Source, supporting veterans through innovative health and life services programs. Nominate your local hero now. 2 News, brought to you by Fiesel. Spring is finally here, and it's time for a fresh new look. How can iMart help? Check this out. Eye exams, $45. Glasses, 2 pairs for $79.92. Digital lenses made right in our labs. You get them the same day. The hottest things and the coolest brands. iMart's got them. Get yours today. Watch 2 News at 6. We're working for you tonight beginning at 6 p.m.
And 30 on a Tuesday morning, it is April 30th, 2019. The rolling spring break. That crowd may be over, but we still have a pretty large, energetic crowd. And look at this little guy. How about that? 6 months old? Yeah. And look at that. What's her name?
Miller Kate.
Miller Kate. Thanks for coming by, Miller Kate. Wow.
I love her little nice crown.
You know what, Greg? That was a little preview because I was looking for Jenna in the audience. Is that your name? And is this your daughter, Miller?
What are the chances?
What is the chances?
What are the chances?
We just found our friend.
It's the cutest baby on the plaza.
So is Miller a Today Show fan? She is. She is. Or a pacifier fan. Oh. You crocheted this? I did, yeah. Oh, okay. Was your first try? It took an embarrassingly long time. Okay. Miller, do you have anything to say?
She took the Mickey out.
She's so cute. Thank you guys for coming down.
You know, Jenna, they do make those shirts in the NC store, so you didn't have to go through all the work.
Yeah. That one's not like this.
Yeah, crochet is pretty great. Happy birthday, Miller. 6 months.
We got a look from her.
Happy birthday.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love her. She's so cute.
Coming up, guys, if you're still searching for the perfect Mother's Day present, we're going to reveal a hot list of gift ideas selected by our good friends at Today.com.
And we've got more of our Best of Broadway week this morning. The show that won the first ever Tony for Best Musical back in 1949. These guys look amazing. It's Kiss Me Kate. We're thrilled to have Broadway legend Kelly O'Hara here, along with the cast, ready to perform live.
And speaking of Broadway, just ahead on the 3rd hour of Today Out, it's a special tour of a must-see attraction for Hamilton fans from the hit show's creator, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Did he ask about us? Did he wonder what we were doing?
Oh, absolutely, he did. It was great. He just kept asking about you all.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's all coming up on the 3rd hour today. Plus, we've got our buddy up where we're driving a spaceship. Just gonna say, this is it's an insult to little girls. Craig squeals like a little girl. Well, you would squeal too if our worker decides to do 75 miles an hour in a parking lot.
Yeah.
More on that in just a bit. But for all of that, let's show you what's happening as far as you can get What did you say? Yeah, Craig's a baby. Oh. Let's show you what's going on for today. Very warm down in the southeast. We are looking for severe storms in the mid-central country. Snowy weather back through the Rockies. And then for tomorrow, severe storms, kind of the same zone in the Rockies, very cool and wet in the northeast, sunshine along the west coast. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Jamie Joseph. We do have the chance of a few passing showers, maybe a rumble of thunder this morning. A lot of dry time as we head into the afternoon. It's still carrying that slight rain chance, especially as we go into our evening hours. And then a lot of the overnight looks dry, but more showers and even a few rumbles of thunder will be possible as we head through the day Wednesday. Today will still be mild. We're pushing into the upper 60s.
This Storm Team 2 forecast was brought to you by Wright Pat Credit Union.
like to leave my audiences with it. You're so beautiful. All right. Well, nice to see you. And okay, let's get back inside. So that.
All right, Al, thank you. Coming next, we're going to talk to a best-selling author about some hard things everyone should learn to say can deepen your relationships. Do you have such great advice? One thing I am going to start today. Kelly Corrigan joins us next, but first, this is Today on NBC.
Window World knows our customers need more than just a pretty window. Our windows undergo extensive testing by the Good Housekeeping Institute, earning them the Good Housekeeping seal. Right now, get 8 windows installed for $78 a month.
Dale's little girl's heading to college. Luckily, her dorm is about 10 minutes from a hotel by Wyndham. Ashley's meeting all her in-laws, and she's about 10 minutes from a hotel by Wyndham. Jeff's flying to, never mind. But hey, 10 minutes from a Wyndham. He's having the best day ever. And he's about 10 minutes from a hotel by Wyndham. With over 6,000 hotels across the country, a great hotel by Wyndham is closer than you think. Book direct at wyndhamhotels.com.
Attention, this is a legal alert. If you wore dual combat arms between 2002 and 2016 and were diagnosed with or suffer from tinnitus or hearing loss, you may be entitled to significant compensation. If you use combat arms earplugs and suffered hearing damage, call 1-800-INJURED today. Were you injured by this product? Call 1-800-INJURED today. Let us fight for you.
Today was the day that I put everything aside. My father to work with the change and
Yeah, I think we're in there. My name is Joey. Do you want to share my sandwich?
Good feeds our connection. Good feeds us all. Hormel Natural Choice Lunch Meat. As America's largest exterior remodeler, Window World is with you every step of the way. We're committed to providing you with outstanding service and value you can trust. Right now, get 8 windows installed for just $78 a month.
$1 question. What are the hardest and the most powerful things we say to one another?
That's right. This launched a rather spirited debate at a dinner table of New York Times bestselling author Kelly Corrigan, and it inspired her new book. It's called Tell Me More. Essential phrases that turn the wheel of life, and she's here to tell us more about them, how they can really change our relationships for the better. Kelly, you've already got us talking and thinking this morning. Tell us about this dinner table conversation that hatched this book.
Yeah, well, you know, I did treatment for a couple of years for cancer in my 30s, and right after I got better, my friend got very sick, and she didn't get better. And when you watch somebody go through that, when you watch somebody fight so hard to be here every day, it makes you wonder, like, do I deserve to be here? Do I deserve my life? And it also makes it crystal clear that there's only one thing that matters, which is your relationships with other people. And so if that's true, which of course it is, we know that, then what do we have to be able to say to each other to be in relationships and stay in relationships? And that sparked this question of, like, what are those hardest words that mean so much and enable relationships?
So our favorite advice is also the cover of your book, the title, which is "Tell Me More."
Yeah.
You know, so many times we want to fix things, but you say that listening, people just want to feel heard.
So I was sort of recognizing in myself this terrible kind of game show tendency where somebody would come to me with a problem, a kid or my husband would have a bad day, and I would kind of want to buzz in as fast as possible, like, I can solve that. Yeah, I can fix that problem. And that's not really what they're coming to you for. They're coming to be heard and to be understood. And I think there's like conviction addiction. I think it's so satisfying to be sure, but it's also not really that true very often.
You have this great anecdote in the book, and there's a bunch of full stories that illustrate these points. We actually going to get a facial, and it was really this facial where she was talking about this because she just heard you. She said she skins that part at the end where she wants to tell me what to buy so that I can like fix this situation. And I said, before you go, and she said, no, go on, tell me. And I said, well, I'm like not super great with healthy habits. Like I don't exercise, which means I don't really sweat, which means I don't really shower, and I'm sort of cheap. So like I use my husband's head and shoulders, and I use his bar of Old Spice on my face.
And she said, go on, what else? And I said, well, my forehead is like really making me crazy. It's like an 8-lane highway. And she said, you know what you need? Bangs. And I was like, that person understands me. That I feel totally heard.
She really drew you out.
And these 3 words can be used with parenting too, which is something that Savannah and I have been talking about this morning.
We want to put it into practicing right now.
Yes, and at work and in management, and the great salespeople use tell me more what else going on. Like,
I don't want to run out of time and not get to our next two. The next phrase that people find hard to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
That is really powerful for human connection.
It is, and also, you know, a huge part of growing up is accepting how much of life is unknowable. Yeah. Why didn't I make the team? Why did the guy break up with me? Why was my friend unable to have a baby when people get pregnant by accident all over the world every day? Why is monogamy so easy for some people and so hard for other people? What causes depression? Like, these things are hard to know, and it's essential to us to develop some kind of tolerance for uncertainty so that we can be in our lives as they are instead of always like kind of going to war with reality. And I just think about presidential elections and what a thrill it would be if someone were to pummel a candidate with like, what are they like younger there? And they were to say, I don't know yet. You know, I would like to study it. I'd like to bring this group of people together. I'd like to read these reports. And I'd like to come up with a point of view. Like, I would follow that person anywhere.
That's good advice. I hope somebody's listening too.
Yeah.
The next 3 words that are really hard to say was I was wrong. And you have a beautiful story in the book about your grandma.
So I was a 24-year-old is like hell bent on being a good person. And I worked for United Way, and I was reading 7 Habits of Highly Effective People with my big fat yellow highlighter, and I had a personal mission statement. And I was committed, like intellectually at least, to living a good life and being a good person. But I also at the same time lived 10 minutes from my grandmother, who was my dad's mom, my dad, who I loved beyond measure. And I went to see her once in 2 years. And when she died, my dad said she didn't want to see your grandmother more. Mm-hmm. And I remember being so flooded with regret and shame and saying, I'm sorry. And he had to go. You know, I had to plan a funeral and a reception. And at the end of that long week, I said, I was wrong. I should have tried to do something to make her final days better. And he just hugged me and said, I'm so happy that you understand. It's important to understand. And that's why I think I was wrong is so powerful, because what you're sort of saying is like, I agree with your worldview. I sort of agree with your definition of right and wrong.
People are so afraid to say those words, but particularly in the story you tell, to say I was wrong is a release. You also, a release for you.
Absolutely.
To just own it. You also say there's a difference between I was wrong and I'm sorry. A lot of people will think that's synonymous, but you said a distinction there.
I mean, I'm sorry is so overused and so poorly used and so often followed by you.
Yeah.
In other words, I'm sorry
you feel that way.
You feel that way. Yeah. Or but, which is never really the way the sentence should go. And there's not as much humility baked into I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to me means like I want this to be over. I want these uncomfortable feelings to be over as fast as possible. Whereas I'm wrong to me says I've sat with this, I've evaluated it, and I agree with you. I was wrong.
We need to have more time for coffee.
We really do. This book is packed with wisdom and really touching stories. Kelly, thank you so much. And I do want to mention you talked about your friend Liz, who's really the heartbeat of the story. She passed away. This book is dedicated to her. One of the chapters is a really moving letter to her on the strength of family and their new life now. It's a beautiful tribute. We have an excerpt from that on today.com/parents. But Kelly, thank you.
Sure, and I'll see you guys on tour.
Yeah,
I'll be out.
Good. We'll head it over to Craig.
All right, ladies, thank you. Just ahead, the Today Hot List, one-stop shopping for all of your Mother's Day gifts. But first, this is Today on NBC.
We know what furniture means to you. That's why we created Happy Weather. Just one of new designer looks. Because great moments deserve great furniture. We are Value City Furniture, and we are going to be your new favorite furniture store.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Creek, owner of Lawn Plus. We're proud to be your local lawn health provider, offering fertilization and weed control. We also offer seeding and aeration to improve the quality of your lawn as the best defense against weeds is thick dirt. If your current lawn care company is providing 6 to 8 lawn applications, that's far too many. We use the highest quality product to get the best results within 4 applications per season. Call today for free estimate, and remember, if you give away it'll take you.
If you hurt and need understanding and compassion, I would recommend Hopper and Pluckett. They will give you the compassion, the understanding, and you don't have to worry about fighting your employer. You're working calm. A lot of people say, oh, you're not going to win, you're not going to win. We went in there and we won. Every time we went. Yes. Sometimes the best place for care is wherever you are. Sometimes expert treatment happens on a court, track, and field. Find your health beyond the walls of our hospitals and in every corner of our community. Our care lives here in Eastern Premier Health.
We know what furniture means to you. That's why we created Chart House. Just one of new design looks, because great moments deserve great furniture. We are Value City Furniture, and we are going to be here.
right now if you want to get some.
I think you have about a week, but you're gonna want to get moving.
All right.
All right. These are Rothy's. They're very, very popular. We heard this from so many moms we talked to. They're super comfortable. Meghan Markle's been spotted wearing these. Yeah.
The princess.
They've come out with a new line. This is their current spring line of colors, and they're actually made from recycled water bottles.
All right, one more quick one.
Yeah.
Right there.
And the last one, this is a super popular carry-on. It's like a luggage bag, gym bag. Yeah, it's really nice. It's the Dagny Dover carry-all, and we're seeing this all over the place. You can't go anywhere in New York right now without seeing this.
And how much on this one?
This is $185, but they come in a lot of different sizes and colors, and it's a really special kind of weekend bag.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. And thank you for helping me start my Mother's Day shopping as well. By the way, to find out more about all of these products, today.com/shop. Up next, the best of Broadway, a live performance from the cast of Kiss Me Kate, the first assistant on NBC.
The pain level was over 10. There's days where I just sat and cried and asked the good Lord to take me. And my doctor recommended that I go to Good Feet and try the arch supports. And I took about 3-4 steps, turned around and went and sat back down and started to cry. It was the first time that I had no pain. I'm not an actor. I want people to know my testimony. I want them to know what arch supports can do from Good Feet. See for yourself. With a free personalized arch support kitty at the Good Feet store.
Come and go like you own the place with a gold season pass to Kings Island. That means unlimited visits starting this spring. All summer at Soak City. And during Grand Carnival, our all-new International Festival and Parade. And all the way through Haunt and Winterfest. Plus, free parking and the return of antique cars. Which is a whole lot of amazing for as low as 5 payments of $18 after an initial payment. Great, price goes up May 28th. Only at visitkingsisland.com. Kings Island. It's amazing in here.
California Closets gave me the space that I needed. My children had grown up in lockdown. It was time for me to have my space. We wanted everything to go into that closet. We were able to take the chest of drawers and the dresser and put all of that in the closet. And I still have space. I'm going shopping. I just didn't think I could ever have a closet like that. It's beautiful. My name is Jan, and this is my California Closet story.
Before my stroke, I was a police officer. After my stroke, I was not able to speak. I wasn't able to walk. The reason that I started teaching was to help the kids going through challenges. Because of any adolescent, I'll have a career. I'm David Slaughter, and I am Chinese writer.
You are all right, and with a little help from Indiana Wesleyan University, your life can shine brighter than you ever thought possible.
Dog Today is proudly presented to you by City.
And this morning on our Best of Broadway series, Kiss Me Kate. It's the story of a cast putting together a musical version of Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew. There is conflict on and off stage between its director, producer, and star, and the leading lady, his ex-wife, who is played by this woman right here, Kelly O'Hara. Kelly, good morning. Good morning. Oh, it's nice to see you. This is such an iconic musical, and I have to say there's a little breaking news this morning because Kiss Me Kate was just nominated for a Tony for Best Revival on Broadway. And you, Ms. O'Hara, were just nominated for Best Lead Actress. Congratulations! Thank you so much. How does it feel? I mean, this is your 7th nomination, so you've been here a time or two. It never gets old. Yes, I know. You love them all equally, right? Equally. This is, as I said, such a legendary production. What's it been like to bring it back, something that's so beloved?
Well, we bring it back to pay homage to that beautiful score, that Cole Porter score, that great book, but we've made some changes. We've updated it. So you do revivals so that you can update them a little and make them for today.
And you can own it. And it's obviously, I think, the nominations are still pouring in. I just heard Best Choreography, which we're going to see a little bit as well. So how about this? You guys perform. We'll keep collecting nominations and report back at the end. What song are you going to do right now?
They're going to do Too Darn Hot, and you'll never see anything like it.
All right, guys, take it away. Congratulations.
It's too dark. It's too dark.
I'd like to stop for my baby tonight. Go much fun with my baby tonight. I'd like to stop for my baby tonight and blow my top with my baby tonight, but I feel all flop with my baby tonight. This is
This is cheesy.
We're known as the Gem City, the city of innovators, dreamers, and believers. For 70 years, WDTN has been there with you through the good times and the hard times.
Following the breaking news
For all of us, this is home. Through decades of changes, one thing hasn't changed: our commitment to you. 2 News is working for you.
New information tonight.
Celebrating 70 years. This is WDTN. Shh. From WDTN, the station that's working for you, this is 2 News.
Good morning. I'm John Seibel. Talking our headline this morning. Training exercises are underway this week at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base for a number of emergency situations. Base officials say that they are confident that this year's training will run smoothly after last year's false active shooter alert. Base Commander Colonel Tom Sherman says lack of communication was a major factor last August, leading to a number of changes before this year's training. The Inspector General's office will run a hotline for anyone with questions about a specific drill. All right, let's take in the Storm Team 2 meteorologist Jamie Jerosic, who's here getting a look at today's forecast. How are we looking, Jamie?
You probably want to take the umbrella again today. Even though it's not going to rain all day, there's going to be a lot of dry weather. We will have the chance for a few spotty showers, even a thunderstorm. And otherwise, it's going to be mild with a high near 67 degrees. Overnight down to 60. That's it. It's going to be pretty warm tonight. And tomorrow, even warmer as winds turn in from the southwest and start to gust again up to about 35 miles an hour. And scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible on Wednesday. Thursday, rain is likely. Showers, thunderstorms as an area of low pressure swings through. We'll even have some morning showers on Friday and a few showers Saturday. We finally dry out Sunday into Monday.
All right, thank you, Jamie. We'll track today's top stories as they develop. Stay tuned at WDTN.com for live updates. Have a great Tuesday.
Come on. Yes. Oh, yeah. I won.
happens, call Stanley Steamer for our 3-room carpet cleaning special and get back to clean.
Call 1-800-STEAMER. Stanley Steamer gets your home better. Oh, yeah.
Well, don't dryer. Good.
I got the last name.
Yeah, you like that?
Thanks.
we started this morning with a big loss for Hollywood, a big loss for just the culture.
Yes.
Groundbreaking director John Singleton. He died yesterday, just 51 years old. He suffered a massive stroke a couple of weeks ago. In 1991, his debut film, right out of the box, Boys in the Hood, immediately put a stamp on the film industry. Set in South Central LA, where Singleton grew up. It was also based loosely on his upbringing there in South Central Los Angeles.
And he was young at the time.
24.
Yeah.
24. He was the youngest, first African American director to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Director and Best Original Screenplay.
I think about the cast of that film. You know, you're talking about Neil Long, Regina King, Lawrence Fishburne, Morris Chestnut, Cuba Gooding Jr., Ice Cube. Yeah, it launched a whole generation of young African American actors.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I was looking yesterday on Instagram. Janet Jackson, Taraji P. Henson, they also talked about the fact that he took a chance on them and he believed in them and he saw talent in them when other people didn't at the time. I mean, you think about the person in your life who took a chance on you, maybe the reason why you're in your career, or the reason why you're able to do what you do. There's that one person that believed in you, and he was that for so many people. And all those amazing actors and actresses took a chance on him too because he was so young right out of the gate, you know, to be in your mid-20s.
It was Tupac.
Yeah, he could do these kind of independent type films, yet he could direct big commercial blockbusters like Too Fast, Too Furious. You know, I mean, that was a groundbreaker. So, you know, he really had a wide range that he could produce of films that he could direct.
He leaves behind 4 children. And one of the best anecdotes I heard yesterday was from your buddy Spike Lee, who talked about the first time he met John Singleton. Spike Lee was working on She's Gotta Have It, 86, 87, if I'm not mistaken. But so he's working on this film, and this kid comes up to him and he said, "Mr. Lee, you're gonna remember me. You're gonna know me. I'm going to film school at USC." 2 weeks later, he starts film school, and the rest is, of course, history.
I was looking at the statement that you were just talking about, the statement that Spike Lee released. It's actually right here behind your head. But it's one of those things where, you know, so many people come up to directors like Spike Lee and probably countless saying, "Oh, I'm going to make it one day." But there was something about him where he knew that this guy meant business, and it was
recently made his mark on television, directing some episodes of Empire and Billions.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize. All right. Well, our hearts are certainly with his family and everybody affected. Another story that's getting a lot of attention today, Sports Illustrated, speaking of trailblazers, a woman named Halima Aden, she made history as the first Sports Illustrated swimsuit model to wear a hijab and a bikini. This was in a magazine. She was born in Kenya. She grew up in a refugee camp there until she was 7 years old when she moved to the United States. And obviously, it's making a splash in the fashion world when she became the first African-American woman to wear, first woman, period, to wear a hijab in the U.S. Minnesota USA pageant back in 2016. I remember when she made news then. And then we looked it up. She actually wrote for Today's Style. Back in 2017, she said at the time, there are a lot of reasons why I love my hijab, the symbolism, the meaning, the tradition. She says, but most of all, it makes me feel like me when I wear it. So I know every year. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's what makes models because they have that confidence because they are them and they're putting themselves out there. And this is her being allowed to be her.
Although I have a feeling whether she was a model or not, this would be her statement.
She's stunning.
Anytime we celebrate a woman or a guy, but especially in this case, a woman who challenges our traditional notions of beauty, and that's, you know, to celebrate that and see her on the cover. Well done. That's pretty good.
She just said that she wanted to be.
Oh, she just said, she said it.
Well, no, every year in the swimsuit edition. Every year, you know, we were talking, you know, that stories before with Sports Illustrated. You know, for years it was girls who weren't just a size 0 who celebrated their curves, or, you know, African American models. So I feel like every year we're trying to kind of push
We're changing gears just a little bit. Sleep. We all need it here, especially because we get so little of it. But interestingly enough, there's a new study in the journal Sleep Health that says if you lose just 16 minutes off your average sleep, then it could impact your abilities at work. 16.
I believe it.
Not 15.
I believe it because I'll allow myself to go to bed 15 minutes late. But once I'm at 16, and I'm not even joking.
Come on.
No.
1 minute?
1 minute the next day, I just don't feel like I got my full night's sleep because I try to give myself 8 hours, right? I am. So I go to bed at 8 hours before I need to wake up, and I'll push it 15
Sorry,
minutes.
Calvin, you didn't.
Sorry. No, he's already said I'm not going to bed at 4 in the afternoon. I go to bed at 9. You know, if I get up at 5, and if I go to bed at 9:15, I'll allow it. But if I go to bed at 9:16, the next morning I'm like, I didn't get my 8 hours of sleep. I didn't get my 7 hours and 45 minutes.
I'm thinking more mental than anything else.
Yes, it's 100% mental.
Because they say it affects your focus, your judgment, your ability to process information, stress levels, and that makes you less productive. I don't know.
You don't think so? You don't sleep 8 hours.
No, gosh.
What do you get?
I get between. Of course, I'll probably die next week. But I
say that.
Now, if it happens,
Yeah,
anyway, the one time I got a forecast right. Anyway, it's funny because it's true. There you go. Anyway, I get about 6 hours. You know, and but if it's 5:45, I don't really feel the difference.
But 5:44,
I don't think. I usually, I mean, there are some days, especially if I'm dealing like Nick's homework or something, where it's 5.5 hours. It just is.
I'm like Dylan. I'm an 8-hour girl.
Wow.
Like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I shut it down. To the point where if the kids are awake, I'll let them stay up. Right. Touch yourself to sleep. I'm not even kidding. You know why I think it helps? Because the next day, we do wake up early. We do have long days. And if I'm struggling in the middle of the day and feel tired, it's like, well, you can't be tired. You got 8 hours of sleep last night. So, it's all mental. And have you ever, you're trying to speak and you just can't get the words out? We've had shows where we just, sometimes the words
There's nothing to do with it.
If you don't sleep, you just can't. You just can't get, your brain is not focused. I think you should try it. You should try it.
I know what you.
See how focused you'll be with 8 hours of sleep.
I feel pretty focused. I feel good.
But imagine if you got 8.
See, and imagine if you got 8.5, you could focus more on getting your husband to the doctor.
Oh, is that your transition?
Yes, it is.
Tell me to shut up this story.
No, just trying to move us along.
Okay, that's true. So there is an article in the Wall Street Journal about why men don't go to the doctor and what clinics are doing to change that. It's not based off of any study. It's just according to this journal. That hospitals are creating centers to provide comprehensive male-focused care in a more welcoming environment to entice men to come in. Which right after I heard this story, I went online trying to find Brian a doctor because he hasn't been a doctor in 3 years. I don't book his appointment. But I feel like that's kind of typical.
How about you?
He goes to the doctor. I mean, I'll say he does his yearly checkups. Only because originally, I'd say when we moved to New York and we have to do with the life insurance or whatever, you get cheaper insurance
if you've got a checkup. And you're within certain parameters.
Correct. So that kind of started it because we wanted the lowest price possible. Sure. Better go to the doctor. I just find moving delays everything because you have to find a new doctor. We moved from the Upper West Side downtown.
Oh my God.
We have to find a new doctor.
That is one thing I never messed around with.
Really?
I go to the. In fact, I go to the doctor more than my wife. I probably go to the doctor more than just about any guy I know.
You and I share that.
Like if I call, I should get some.
I have a frequent flyer program. How do you so much?
I've done this long enough. I've covered enough bizarro stories.
Yeah.
The guy on Monday, he doesn't feel right. Something just doesn't. And then Thursday's dead.
And look, we're very fortunate. We've got great health care, good health insurance, and not everybody's that fortunate.
Yeah.
So, some people do put it off just because out of necessity.
But I think the truth is for people who put it off, because I'm guilty of not going to the doctor. You remember, I finally went after years. And you inspired me to go. It had been years since I went to the doctor. There are times where it doesn't make it right, and I've learned my lesson now, where you kind of think your body will just work itself out. And I know that sounds very naive and ridiculous, but a lot of people kind of think that. They think if they just kind of put it off, you have a pain.
Women kind of mothers especially, they just get caught up.
Yeah. I will say, last 2 days, my foot has been hurting me so bad, I think because of our dance. It's gone now.
Well, you had
a
heart thing.
I did have a heart thing, and that I actually
push you to go to the doctor.
Yes, and I did go to the doctor.
All okay, but
Yes, everything was fine. But you were the person who kind of pushed me over the edge. Like, go to the doctor.
I push you over the edge every day.
Yeah, every day. You go to the ER one time, remember? I've been complaining for weeks.
Oh, that's right.
And it finally,
these people.
Dylan you called the doctor.
And it turned out
Yeah, sure, I did call the doctor to get you when I had like a bigger issue. I know. Anyway, okay, so speaking of, I don't even know what, yesterday was day one of our complaint cleanse. I am really surprised at how many people have jumped on board with this through Instagram, through Twitter. A lot of us have a desire to try to stop complaining. We don't know how to do it, but to say 7 days of trying to be a little bit more optimistic and trying not to complain, everybody's willing to do it. And I tried. Did you try it? Did you try? I'm going to try.
I don't think I was more aware of these things. I think a lot of what we do, it's not really complaining. It's observational.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
yesterday
that's
when
what
I got home and my wife was driving my car. And
Do you not like that?
well, I like to be able to drive my car when I get home. So I complained via text. And as I was sending the text, I was like, "Oh, I'm complaining." Didn't stop me, but I was aware of it.
I think it's just a natural part of our condition.
Yeah.
And just because you complain a little doesn't mean you're not optimistic.
Yeah.
I think it's just a natural thing.
Do you see these goosebumps? She's not going to complain. Not even a little bit cold. Not even. It's fine. It's great in here.
But to deny that doesn't mean you're not.
That was the worst kind of complaint. That was a passive aggressive.
Oh, I do passive aggressive better than most.
This is working out good.
No, I think we should stay on board. Don't give up. Don't listen to them.
When we come back, Jennifer Lopez in the hot seat. Wait until you see who was asking the questions, though. We'll be right back.
Ahead on #Third Hour today. She was once called the most powerful woman in American business. Former CEO Carly Fiorina stops by to talk power, leadership, and her thoughts on the 2020 race. Plus, don't throw away your shot at seeing this.
And welcome to New York.
Hamilton creator Lin-Manuel Miranda giving me a special tour of his new must-see Hamilton exhibit.
Close your eyes.
Beings have infinite worth. They themselves are valuable and equal in the eyes of God. And that as a result of that, we have to understand that governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And that whenever government becomes abusive of those ends, it's the right of the people to alter or abolish that form of government that's harming them. So in other words, the message of the Declaration of Independence and the message of my book, Our Lost Declaration, is that when government serves the people, great. When it doesn't, it is up to the people to fix it, to turn around. Most importantly, that government is there to serve people, not the other way around.
You know, we have been dealing with the ACLU
and the abuses that have taken place by the federal court system. And the Supreme Court has been the ultimate arbiter of our social norms in this country for some time. And a few unelected judges, I mean, it just takes a small number, have changed the way Americans deal with all kinds of things. What can be done to rein in the courts?
The best thing that can be done to rein in the courts, to make you have better judges, is to elect a president who says that he will appoint judges who will read the law and interpret the law based on what the law says, rather than on the basis of one particular social policy or ideology. It's one of the things I'd like to commend President Trump for. During his time in office thus far, he's put people on the U.S. Supreme Court, on the appellate courts, and on the federal trial courts who have done precisely that. That is the biggest, strongest defense that we have against encroachment by the judicial branch on the other branches, particularly the Congress.
One last question. You've been considered as a possible candidate for the Supreme Court. Is that something you'd like to do, or is that in the cards for you at all?
Well, at the moment, Pat, I'm busy representing the people from the great state of Utah in the United States Senate. If at some point a vacancy came along and the President of the United States asked me to be considered for such a role, I would not say no.
Thank you, Mike Lee. God bless you. Hey, the book is called Our Lost Declaration, something you need to read and understand, because we need to fight against tyranny, and the deep state in our nation has taken away the power that you have as citizens. Isn't that good?
So interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mike Lee's a good guy.
Are you done with the book? Can I have it now?
Yeah, you got it right. All right.
All right.
All right. Well, did you know that snow melt can cause earthquakes? I've been talking about the tremendous snow melt in the Sierras. We're talking about many, many feet of snow. Let's go back to John for that story.
Well, Pat, before we get to that, a quick update on Venezuela. At the top of the show, you mentioned Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's possible response to the uprising in Venezuela. Here's what he tweeted shortly after 9 this morning. Today, interim President Juan Guaido announced libertad. The U.S. government fully supports the Venezuelan people in their quest for freedom and democracy cannot be defeated. The U.S. stands with Venezuela. Well, as you had just mentioned, Pat, new research shows heavy snow melt may have contributed to a series in California. In 2017, about 100 minor daily earthquakes shook an area near the Mammoth Mountain area over a period of a few weeks. Scientists now believe runoff flowing from the snow melt may have caused the seismic movement. High levels of flooding were recorded, Pat, during that seismic activity.
Well, we're also going to have a story about the flooding and some of the danger to the dams in California. It's much more serious than you can imagine, and we'll be talking about it on subsequent programs. But the fact that the melting of that enormous amount of snow is actually causing seismic tremors, that is the story, Wendy.
It really is, Pat. Well, up next, a mother cries out to God in anguish after her 5-year-old is diagnosed with a brain hemorrhage the size of a golf ball.
God, I don't know how I can look at a mother and daughter again.
Well, I didn't know the windows came out.
My daughter from me.
See why this little girl's doctor says it's a miracle that she survived. Plus, we'll be praying for your prayer requests, so stay with us.
Where's he taking
Let's take a look at some numbers. 4 out of 5.
That's a nice profile.
It was really nice. Apparently, a lot of people like the idea of trying to eat clean. And so, yes, but I'm actually happy that I'm able to finally say that I can. And so my thing is, we talk about the plant-based diet, and a lot of people are doing it. I am trying to see if, and so far it's working. I'd say 80-20. Like I'm not gonna, like the other day with meatballs, I had quite a meatball. Like
You
you're
don't
not
have
gonna
to be 100%.
exactly. But if you do 70-30, I think you will feel a difference in your body.
And you said that it's like really helped you.
Major difference. Remember I had all those stomach aches before that we just talked about? Haven't had any.
You complain a lot less?
You think so?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you, Al Roker.
So you've been around him so long now, you can tell when he's lying.
Right back.
He lies with
His
his eyes.
nostrils flare when he lies. Watch.
New windows. Damn. It's dead. I think he doesn't like the smell of this. It's cucumber green.
And also, it's yeah. What was the challenge of designing something like this?
Well, I mean, first we decided early on if we're going to do it, we're going to try and do full, complete 360-degree environments. We jammed like 25 Broadway sets worth of stuff in a habit trail, maze, all jammed into this airplane hangar.
Will this stay in Chicago? Will it maybe tour?
This is built to tour and will go in 80 trucks. 80 trucks.
And we'll give you a heads up on the traffic when we're on the road with this thing.
Wow.
Along the way, we just had to stop for a selfie with the man himself.
Here's homeboy. You weren't that tall. He wasn't that tall.
You're taller than me, but
Yeah, I'm just barely tall enough.
King George.
This is the King George room. This is like a break with King George, just like in our show. Here's a little break.
Yeah.
And this exhibit is also interactive.
There's a blink of me.
I mean, it's the rumor. Here we go.
Oh, 10 cents on the
That is
dollar.
not a great
Bummer.
This is the founding of the National Bank. You guys should invest your money, right? So you guys should step up, turn the crank to invest a coin. Go ahead and step up to your cranks. Oh, thing's in. Here we go. Oh, that's a good bounce. Oh, damn. That was nice. Straight in. All right.
Well done.
Nice work.
after the tour, I was honored to be part of the opening celebration.
We're to announce, starting next week, I'll be playing the part of King George.
And with a cut of the ribbon, the exhibition opens to the public.
Oh, that's great.
And you know what's fascinating? Another reason why they chose Chicago, believe it or not, more people have seen Hamilton's Chicago production than they have the New York production.
Wow. Aren't they both all sold out all the
Yeah,
time?
but it's a bigger theater. And so more people see it. So it's really great. And it's really an honor to be part of the opening. I really, yes. Really, once you put a powdered wig on, you
I can't reach to them.
If you can. Find out if Chanel and Craig stop running when we sign up for a driving
You can help a child with healthier life. Walgreens.
I'm Brian. I was in the military for 18 years, but I smoked and I got heart disease. Hardest thing to
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT now for help getting through
Skin Care Color from L'Oreal cares in 3 ways. With pre-color treatment, legendary color crème, nourishing conditioner, Korea's 100% covered. So much care. Excellent crème from L'Oreal Paris. So, there you are with your depression and your dirty laundry that you just don't want to deal with. Because depression is multiple symptoms. Yeah, time for a change. And your doctor tells you about Trintellix, a prescription medicine for depression. So you're feeling this overall relief. And Trintellix had no significant impact on weight in clinical trials. You've got this.
Tell your doctor right away if you have worsening depression, unusual changes in mood, behavior, or thoughts of suicide. Antidepressants can increase these in children, teens, and young adults. Do not take with MAOIs. Tell your doctor about your medications, including migraine, psychiatric, and depression medications, to avoid a potentially life-threatening condition. Increased risk of bleeding and bruising may occur, especially if taken with NSAID pain relievers, aspirin, or blood thinners. Manic episodes or vision problems may occur in some people, may cause low sodium levels. Common side effects include nausea, constipation, and vomiting.
Not with sweatpants.
Ask your doctor about changing to Trintellix.
We're all going for something more. And new Special K protein has more. It's 16 grams of protein. Extra nutrients to help that protein do more. Special K, power
He is a fan of non-toxic children's players and allergy relief. The number one physically recommended non-toxic brand. Because to a kid, a glassing gel is irresistible. Children's Claritin. Feel the clarity. And then Claritin Clear. This is not a bag. It's a revolution in sleep. The Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed for $9.99 intelligently senses your movement, automatically adjusts, so you wake up rested and ready for anything. Save $400 on select Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed, only for a limited time.
Is your dry skin cream not doing enough? Try Eucerin Advanced Repair Cream for 48-hour dry skin relief. Goes beyond ceramides with moisturizing factors naturally found in skin. Eucerin Advanced Repair Cream for healthier looking skin.
I got a certain way I like to do things. I like Consumer Cellular. I get unlimited talk and text for just $25 a month with no contract. They received the JD Power Award for highest customer service again.
And Consumer Cellular has been an approved AARP provider since 2008, so we trust them. Reliable nationwide coverage for way less money? That's the way.
We like it.
Get wireless the way you like it. Call, go online, or find us. Welcome back. It's time for our Buddy Up series. It's our series where we all try something together outside of work.
2 months ago during one of our panels, we talked about stick shift drive. That's right. Turns out these guys actually never learned. Like these guys.
Okay.
So Dylan and I offered to give them a driving book.
When our friends at Ford heard about it, they lent us this old clunker. And then these student drivers practice in a Mustang Bullet.
My first car I bought, it was $750 cheaper to get a stick, so I did.
How much did you pay for your first car?
It was they didn't have money. Well, it was basically shell. Yeah, that's right, because there was a crank in front. It was fantastic.
Are you ready?
All right.
There we go.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, second gear.
There we go. Because I'm that good.
Did you put one away?
Okay, put on the brake.
Okay. Yeah.
Put this down. Okay. All right. Put your left foot, left foot on the clutch, all the way to the floor. I can't reach it.
You gotta move
forward.
It's like you've never driven a car. Not stick. It's like you've never actually driven.
Okay, now push it. Okay, now slowly
At the same time, press the gas.
Press it down and let your foot off the clutch.
Okay.
Left foot,
Zero the car. Oh,
That's it.
off the gas.
And then shift
And
it.
then shift. Oh, shit.
Okay.
Put your foot on the brake and clutch.
Okay, good. Excellent. Good job. Good job. Yeah, he got, yeah. Yes. We're gonna keep going. Okay. Yeah, we know. We're good. Okay, clutch, all the way down the clutch and the brake. There you go. Now get and then let your foot. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go, girl. Okay. There you go. Okay, sit. Okay. All right. Clutch. Okay.
Let me out. I'm done.
Wait, Al, are you chauffeuring this car?
Oh, that's just a ha-ha.
Let's start.
To start, press clutch. No, the car.
Well, look, at least I can start the car.
The car was started when you got it.
All righty. You're going to slowly let up, hands on the wheel. Okay.
You're drinking a car
You know what? Can you keep it down back there, please? I'm trying to run.
That is depressed on the clutch. Your right foot's on the gas. You are going to literally exchange positions.
More gas.
There you go. There you go.
I feel like we're the same.
All right. There you go. Okay.
More gas.
Good.
Well done. Yeah. That was awesome.
And now,
I'm sweating. Put up the gas, touch down. There we go. Got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now what do we do? Off the gas. There. Okay.
No, you're your best. You should just sit down.
Did I help at all? No.
And you're done. Nice job.
Oh my God! Hey man! Oh my God! What happened now? That's some sort of this thing is awesome!
One more? Okay.
No, I'm good. We're all good here.
Al, do it again.
Here we go. Okay. I get the fact is we're in an abandoned kind of part of the book.
Every time we tell it, I get faster. I was doing 130. Okay. That was it.
All right.
Would you do it again?
No.
Come on, it's fun. You can catch more of Al's Runaway Ride online. It's on today.com. There's much more craziness.
Here we go. Happy with him.
Get a hold of the wheel. Oh, yeah.
When you join us tomorrow on the third hour of Today, NBA star Kevin Love talking about getting personal and opening up about mental health. But first, he's an actor and activist. Grey's Anatomy star Jesse Williams is here.
Baby, I'm not even a gal. The only thing you have to say is make you drop, 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 make my drop, 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 make you stay in my God. Drop, drop, make you drop, drop, make you stay in my God. Ain't never felt like emotion.
That guy's got a sexy from behind.
Got to great tasting flavor. Velveeta breakfast biscuit. Flavors like delicious blueberry or decadent chocolate gently baked in a tasty biscuit. Velveeta breakfast biscuits. It's time to taste the day.
The in-laws have moved in with us,
And our adult children are here.
so we saved money.
Oh my God, my H doesn't work.
3 generations.
Oh my God, the H doesn't work.
Anybody see my pants? #1 stain and odor fighter. #1 trusted. It's got to be Tide.
What patients don't realize is what they eat and drink is likely acidic.
Oh my God.
And then what's happening is the weakening of the enamel. Now,
What in the hell? Whatever. I don't really get
like the new enamel repair. This toothpaste takes it to the next level. It takes minerals and it drives it deep into the tooth surface so that we can actively repair weakened enamel. I do think dentists are going to want to recommend the new Pronamel Repair toothpaste. Such an easy answer and will do exactly what their patients need.
I'm missing out on our family outings because I can't find a bladder leakage product that fits. Everything was too loose. But Depend Fit Flex feels tailored to me.
With a range of sizes for all body types, Depend Fit Flex underwear is guaranteed to be your best fit.
I wish I'd never seen a cigarette in my entire life. I truly did. I wish I'd never ever seen one. My flesh picked it up with something.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT now for help getting free medication if available and eligible.
In 1 week, a lot will happen in your life. Wrinkles just won't. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair's germ-proven retinol works so fast, it takes only 1 week to reveal younger-looking skin, making wrinkles so last week.
Remember why it is you need her permission to move. But
Well, it's not her permission. You know, it's just she really relies on me to help out with kids, and I'm like a buffer between her and Amelia because those two. All right. I don't want to leave her in the lurch.
sure, yeah, okay then. You just let me know what she decides.
Jessica, good morning.
Thanks for having me.
We were just talking about this. The show has been on, coming up on 10 years.
Yeah.
It's been on 10 years, right?
Yes, 15 seasons in my, we just wrapped up the 10th.
What do you think it is that resonates with so many people year after year after year?
I think at this point, it is one of the very few, if not only, running drama where generations are watching this and experiencing growing up with these characters together. Mothers, daughters, grandparents. Watching the show for 15 years, and actually, there's more folks discovering the show now. Young people, teenagers, discovering the show now than there are actual regular viewers. Like somehow the base is growing, and people can actually grow with these characters. It's not 2 seasons. They've seen us go through all types of roller coasters, relationships, deaths, births. It's like real life. You're actually growing up alongside somebody. We are their peer group in many ways, and it's also like totally raised the amount of women applying to med school. 39%. Apparently, credit Grey's Anatomy as inspired. It makes things palatable. Yeah, it's a real thing.
And do you think that the rise in popularity of the show, is that a direct correlation to the fact that you guys in really recent seasons have been really dealing with real life issues like race and poverty and some other issues.
I think that's an added bonus. I think for the first, I would say, 13 years, we didn't really. I mean, Grey's Anatomy has been a pioneering show in terms of Hollywood, and much like other aspects of the country, have always said, well, we would love to be more diverse, but it doesn't sell. We'd love to have more diversity on camera or in directing or casting, and we'd love to have an Asian woman here, but it doesn't sell. And Grey's Anatomy has shown from the beginning that's nonsense. It's a black chief and an Asian surgeon and a lesbian doctor and all these things, and it's been ahead of the curve without ever talking about it. It's just that's our patient is trans. That's it. Now we're actually addressing things by name and more topically, and that's a new added twist that people have responded really well to.
So 10 years you've been on the show. Now you're getting behind the camera.
Yeah.
What's it like directing on a show you've starred on for so long? Is it hard? Is it a new skill set?
It is a hard job. It is very time consuming and requires a lot of attention to do that. We have such a top-notch crew, incredible showrunner, and I've got Debbie Allen in my corner who directs all the time, and she really kind of shepherded me through the process. And I directed last year. And this year was got the first one out of my system. Yeah. And it's an incredible job. I really love doing it. I'm kind of made for it. I feel like it fits me in some ways a little more comfortably than acting sometimes. Yeah, I enjoy it.
How would your co-stars describe your directing?
I get along really well with the actors. As an actor, I can speak that language. Yeah. I think actors sometimes get prickly about how you don't tell me how to say my lines. I know my character better than you do, and especially in a show this long running, we do 25 a year, 25-hour-long episodes a year. That means we probably have 16 directors that come through because several repeat. So you get to come in and leave. We formed and shaped this character, right? I know this character in some ways better than a lot of other people. So you got to be careful how you communicate that to actors.
By the way, just so you know, our line producer in the control room, Matt Greenfield, says you have beautiful eyes.
Thanks, Matt. 2 seconds in the mail.
I've got about 10 seconds left. Is there anything you always wanted to do, Jesse? There's that. Oh, did you see it?
I did. Okay.
Anything you've always wanted to do? Let's just put it out there.
I'll be directing features is the next thing, and getting back on stage, Broadway.
Nice. Thank you. Grey's Anatomy airs Thursday nights on ABC. We'll be right back.
An alarming surge in the measles outbreak. The number one myth is autism.
Yes.
And there's no link to vaccination.
Absolutely not.
Do we know if they've been able to save anything?
They're all waiting until they smell the smoke here.
If you recall this winter, you're going to be hot this summer. We can insulate your whole house for only $99 a month, interest-free. Unfortunately, that deal does go away at the end of the month. Beat the heat, $99 a month, so make the call.
USA Insulation.
I'm Paige, and the little thing that I like about the grilled chicken sandwich is that it's picture perfect. It's juicy, and it just has all the right combinations. I think I can be considered a grilled chicken sandwich influencer.
My name is Frank, and the little thing I like about the grilled chicken sandwich is the first bite. I love how juicy the chicken is, but there's also the tomatoes and the lettuce, waffle fries.
Come and go like you own place with a gold season pass to Kings Island. That means unlimited visits starting this spring, all summer at Soak City, and during Grand Carnival, our all-new International Festival and Parade, and all the way through Haunt and Winterfest, plus free parking and the return of antique cars, which is a whole lot of amazing for as low as 5 payments of $18 after an initial payment.
I'd be so
Hurry, price goes up May 28th. Only at visitkingsisland.com. Kings Island, it's amazing in here.
After an accident, some shady chiropractors are calling injury victims and saying things like this.
You need an attorney, or if you would like free legal advice, you ask the doctor and he'll give you a referral to an attorney that best fits your case.
You could be entitled to see a specialist.
Don't fall for the...
Up next, though, Married to the Family with Jenna. They've got Tiffany Thiessen and her husband. What are you trying to say?
More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
Yes, I want.
Gross. But it happens. Call Stanley Steamer and get back.
Entertainment with Spectrum TV, with more HD and more free on demand. Get Spectrum TV from $44.99 a month. Upgrade to the best. Get Spectrum Internet and TV from $44.99 a month each. Call 855-646-4499.
Unsure about your credit? Jeff is ready to approve you at JeffApproves.com. Get approved. See what vehicles you qualify for and find out your payment full without ever setting foot at our dealership.
Stop wasting your time and take control of your next vehicle purchase at JeffApproves.com.
Creating a beautiful yard starts with a perfect design, durable construction.
Started wrapping my head in duct tape, tied my arms with barbed wire.
Put you under a tarp.
Years later, a chilling revelation.
He watched you.
He had gone by her house and actually thought about kidnapping her again.
You've never heard that, right?
Plus, one of his other victims speaks out.
She's going to share her story for the first time ever.
She is the Jane Doe responsible for his capture.
These two girls have never met.
An emotional Dr. Phil daytime exclusive.
Today's story is a parent's worst nightmare and rocked a small town in upstate New York nearly 15 years ago. It's a story of a serial child kidnapper and abuser who lived amongst his neighbors and friends completely unnoticed until two young girls helped bring him to justice. The story starts on a sidewalk just like this. A 5-year-old girl named Brittany Fish was riding her Barbie scooter outside her house. But on that fateful day, all those years ago, Brittany's life took a tragic turn just 2 weeks shy of her 6th birthday.
There are no words to describe the past 24 hours for a 5-year-old girl abducted early Saturday evening.
5-year-old Brittany Fish vanished from outside her home. I remember the day I was abducted like it was yesterday.
Little Brittany disappeared shortly before 6 p.m. Saturday, only 2 blocks from her home, sending panic throughout the neighborhood.
I was riding my scooter to my friend's house. A white car pulled up to the stop sign. A man got out of the car. He had an evil smirk on his face. All of a sudden, he wrapped his arms around me, covered my mouth, and then shoved me into the backseat of the car. I started kicking and screaming, and then he pulled a gun to my head and said, "Stop, or else I will shoot you."
The only trace left behind, her scooter, found in a storm drain.
It's like she vanished. When you have a child that's missing with no evidence of anything.
I was extremely terrified. The man forced me to take my shirt off and perform a sexual act on him. Then he forced himself on me. I had no idea what was happening.
Hours later, Brittany's abductor dropped her off at a vacant building in DeWitt.
He went to the trunk of his car and grabbed barbed wire and duct tape. With the duct tape, he wrapped it around my whole entire head, hair, eyes, nose, and mouth. He took the barbed wire and hog-tied me with my ankles and my wrists behind me. After all of that, he then put a tarp over me and left. As I was laying there under the tarp, I had no idea what was going to happen next. I thought I was going to die.
As little Brittany Fish lay hog-tied, her head bound with duct tape, the frantic search for her continued.
A massive search to find missing 5-year-old Brittany Fish.
Within an hour of Brittany's disappearance, hundreds of neighbors were out on the street with flashlights searching every nook and cranny on the city's north side.
As I was laying underneath the tarp, I was struggling to get free, but I had absolutely no success. The barbed wire was digging into my skin.
For hours, Brittany laid under that tarp in the blustery cold.
I was laying on a cement slab. It was thundering, lightning, pouring rain. I only had on shorts and a t-shirt. To keep warm, I had to keep urinating on myself.
I was terrified at that point. Throughout the whole 22 hours, I kept yelling, I love my mom, I love my dad, and my family. I was thinking somebody could potentially hear me.
We were very pessimistic that we would find her alive. She would be the best evidence of capturing the offender. Why leave a witness?
We waited all night that night. It was very traumatic and chaotic.
Then the unthinkable happened. A property owner visiting the lot heard what sounded like a puppy. When he lifted the tarp, it was Brittany.
When the man who rescued me lifted up the tarp, he said, "Hold on, honey. Help is on the way. I'm going to call 911 right now. You're safe." I was ecstatic. I knew I was safe at that moment. My nightmare was over.
Sadly, stories like Brittany's are not uncommon. These are just a few images of thousands of children who are currently missing, some of whom vanished decades ago. Now, miraculously, Brittany was found alive. Her case and her bravery began the search for a serial child predator. In a daytime exclusive, please welcome Brittany Fish. You were abducted just 3 or 4 houses away, right?
I was.
And your kidnapper pulled up and pulled right up to the curb, right?
He did.
And exited his car. And what did he say to you first? What was the first thing he said to you?
He said, "Hold on, I need to get a butterfly catcher out of my trunk."
Get a butterfly catcher out of his trunk.
Now, at 5 years old, I was naive. Who would think that, a butterfly catcher would do any damage?
Right. And so did he go to his trunk?
He did.
And what did he do?
He looked like he was rummaging through something. I knew there wasn't an actual butterfly catcher.
Right.
And then right after.
And when he came out from behind the trunk, what did he do?
He put his arms around my mouth and told me to get into the back of the car as he shoved me to the floorboards.
Okay. And was he armed at this point?
I didn't see any weapon at that point. It was later on that I saw a weapon.
Okay, you did see a weapon later, but not here.
Not right there, no.
Now, the size differential between him and you at this point was, he was 2-3 times bigger than you, because at 5 years old, and I've seen the pictures of you, you weren't big as a minute, right? So you're tiny, and so he scoops you up, and you're completely overpowered, right?
Exactly.
What went through your mind at that point? Do you remember that moment?
At that moment, I was like, am I going to live?
Live from News Center 7, this is a breaking news update.
And we are interrupting our regular scheduled programming because we are following some breaking news.
This morning, the FBI has been conducting a large investigation in Dayton. 4 federal indictments, we hold them here in our hands, have just been handed down. We now know these investigations involve Brian Higgins, Clayton Lucky, Joey Williams, and Roshan Winburn. This is surrounding reported corruption and fraud charges. So we did some digging on these men.
We were there this morning when FBI agents went to the office of Winburn, who is the business and technical director for the Dayton Human Relations Council. Winburn, who is the son of former state lawmaker Roland Winburn, is an Air Force veteran and served on the Huber Heights City Commission.
Also, Clayton Lucky is a very familiar name here in Dayton. He served 10 years on the school board, 7 years in the Ohio House. You may remember back in 2012, investigators found that Lucky diverted roughly $130,000 from his campaign account for personal use while serving in the Ohio House. Lucky did go to prison. He was released back in 2016 and then formed a local land holdings company.
And then Joey Williams, also a familiar name. He is currently the Dayton Market president for Key Bank. He served as the Dayton City Commissioner from 2001 to 2018. He abruptly resigned that position in February of 2018, shortly after winning re-election. He also served on the Dayton School Board.
And now we get to the 4th federal and Brian Higgins, business entrepreneur who owned a restaurant and a dead body pickup service in Dayton.
Damn.
Also in 2012, a Dayton Daily News investigation found that Higgins' company, GSSP Enterprise, was delinquent on hundreds of thousands of dollars in state and federal taxes. At that time, he had a business relationship with Kim Betts, then director of the Montgomery County Coroner's Office. The county then canceled its contract with GSSP Enterprises. Higgins also owned Sidebar, a very popular restaurant in the Oregon district. It closed back in July of 2012 when it faced eviction proceedings over unpaid rent. We reached out to the city moments ago. This is the statement that they have just released. It says in part, quote, "The city is aware and cooperating with the Federal Bureau of Investigation involving one of our employees. At this time, we have no further comments," end quote.
And we have our own News Center 7's Jim Oddie outside of the Federal Building right now in downtown Dayton.
And Jim, what can you tell us about what's happening right now there?
I'll give you the latest of the lot report here. Apparently, the FBI has been investigating the city of Dayton and some of its employees for a very long time leading up to today's event. So I'll even take a look at where we're at right now from our position. This is the Dayton Federal Building, and this is where this is all going to come down. This morning, made their first move. They apparently went to the One Stop Center. This is the other city building on West 2nd Street, and that's where they were taking one person of interest into custody. That was Rashad Winburn. That was this morning at about 9 o'clock. The other people were taken up at various locations throughout the city as well, and they will be brought here to the Federal Building for their court appearance, their initial appearance. We're now getting ready for a press conference here, which this entire case will be, at least we'll be able to get some additional details on this entire case. That's coming up this afternoon at 1 o'clock. The key figures of this case, you mentioned them. First, former Dayton City Commissioner Joey Williams, also former commissioner, former school board member, former state lawmaker Clayton Luckey. Those two notables will be the center of this investigation, at least so far. This also involves not only the federal authorities, but also the Attorney General for the state of Ohio, David Yost. He confirmed early on there would be 4 individuals named today in this case. So far, fans have told us this all involves a couple of different charges. This is corruption and fraud will be the centerpiece of these 4 cases. We expect this afternoon to hear from both the prosecutors and the Attorney General at that press conference this afternoon at 1. We'll have it for you live here on News Center 7. That's what we know, at least so far. Many more details expected to come this afternoon. Reporting live, Jim Oddie, News Center 7.
Jim, thank you. And as Jim mentioned, the FBI plans to hold a 1 p.m. news conference at the Federal Building in downtown Dayton. At that time, they are expected to release more information about their individual investigations, and we, of course, will be there. We will continue to follow details of these arrests and bring them to you here on air and with live Team 7 coverage at noon, also on our WHIO News app. Thank you for joining us. We will return you now to our regular scheduled programming.
And we will continue to pour over these federal indictments you just handed in. We'll see you back here at noon.
Good. Snacking should be sweet and simple. The delicious taste of Glucerna gives you the sweetness you crave while helping you manage your blood sugar. Glucerna, everyday progress.
Get your next Cadillac with lifetime powertrain coverage and our best price guarantee. Only at Judgment Cadillac in Beaver Creek.
The XT4 is stunning inside and out. Lease for $359 a month. Experience the advantage at judgmentcadillac.com.
Summer registration for the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at University of Dayton is now open. This seminar series offers a customized, fun, and intellectually stimulating experience. For just $80, you can enjoy them all. Secure your seat today.
Sometimes the best medicine is a big dose of amazement. Sometimes healthy living starts with a healthy meal. Find Premier Health beyond the walls of our hospitals and in every corner of our community. Our care lives here. Premier Health.
They gave us the bathroom.
We've always wanted.
Call 937-755-1712.
News, weather, and traffic. AM 1290 and News 95.7 WHIO.
Brittany Fish is recovering here at University Hospital in stable condition. Found alive late Sunday afternoon.
Bill Walters is the stranger who miraculously found Brittany at the abandoned warehouse in DeWitt. It was pure luck. He heard her noises that led him to Brittany. She was bound under a tarp.
It was a condition that no person should have to go through, and
It was something I'll never forget.
Detectives say they feel the case is solvable. The man who found Brittany would also like to see the case solved, although he takes no credit for his role.
I don't think I'm a hero. I don't feel that way. There was a reason they found her, and I'm thankful for that.
When he pushed you out of the car and left you, what did he do?
And then he had me stand up and put my arms behind my back, tied him with barbed wire along with my ankles.
The man that found you, this gentleman that we just heard from, said he's not a hero. When he came and lifted that tarp, did you think it was the man, or did you think it was someone to save you?
I was scared that it could have been the man. But then I heard his voice. The voice was completely different.
What did he say to you?
He said, "Honey, stop crying. You're safe now. I'm calling 911 immediately." And it was at that moment I knew it wasn't the man that had taken me. I knew I was rescued.
How do you feel about him?
I love him more than I could ever imagine. He's got a very special spot in my heart. I'm getting married in May, and I asked for him to walk me down the aisle.
That would be a very special time, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
He said he'd be honored, so.
Well, Brittany's abduction was featured twice on America's Most Wanted, yet there were still no clues or suspects until her predator struck again. Take a look.
Police continue to stand guard over Brittany's house, not only because they feel she needs privacy, but also to protect her.
Kevin Schaus was on the run for an entire year, and I was terrified.
Police are combing the county, chasing down hundreds of leads in their search for a child molester.
I couldn't leave my house. I couldn't go to school for a few months. I was terrified knowing that he was out there still. I was scared every day that he could attack me again. I was constantly haunted by what had happened to me. I had reoccurring nightmares every night for about 2 years. He was chasing me up and down stairs with a gun.
March 2005, officers arrested Kevin Schaus for abusing a young girl in a separate case.
When I heard the news that Kevin Schaus was finally found and thrown in jail, I finally felt safe again. I could leave my house without being fearful that he was there potentially watching me.
For whatever reason, Schaus just gave up. He was under arrest for it, gave up Brittany's case, and gave up 2 other very serious sexual assaults.
4 in total.
We didn't have the DNA. We didn't have that thing. We had his confession.
Schaus took a universal guilty plea and was sentenced 20 years to life.
Kevin Schaus will reoffend while he has breath in his lungs. He should never get out, and we pray to God that he never will get out.
Well, next, Schaus wrote multiple startling confessions to police. We're going to hear what he had to say after the break.
What lies ahead in Dr. Phil May?
See this? My guest Angie says that is ironclad evidence that her husband Joe is having an affair.
I can see the buttocks of a woman sitting on top of Joe.
You got the house wired with cameras and microphones. You put a motion detector under the bed.
Yes.
You actually think that he's bringing her not only into your home, but into your bed while you're in it.
Did you lie about being in the military? Oh, wait, what now? Yeah, you can't hear me? Come on, bro.
My earpiece slipped out.
Kendall has made some serious accusations. She claims that her father molested her.
These accusations are completely false.
Everyone thinks I'm lying.
He said, I don't lie, but then you say I lied to the court. You filed a false report. Their mother, Cammie, was her biggest supporter. Now Cammie is a homeless drug addict who has been arrested.
People thought dumpster diving, I call it treasure hunting, finding fruit out of the garbage.
You've got to be willing to look her in the eye and say, I am done.
I don't even think I want her back.
You're going to bury your mother and spend the rest of your life without her if something doesn't happen.
I can do it.
Come and go like you own the place with a gold season pass to Kings Island. That means unlimited visits, which is a whole lot of amazing for as low as 5 payments of $18 after an initial payment. Hurry, price goes up May 28th. Only at visitkingsisland.com.
Have you smelled this litter?
No.
Nobody has. It's unscented. Tidy Cat's free and clean unscented. Powerful odor control with activated charcoal. Free of dyes, free of fragrances. Unscented odor control like that? Try Tidy Cat's free and clean. It was class reunion time, and I need to brighten new dentures. The implants hold so well that I don't have to worry about them slipping. Thanks, Dr. Ball.
Hi, I'm Dr. Thomas Bolt. Let me help you get your smile back.
At Jeff Schmidt Auto Group, we have 7 service facilities. Drop off your car and drive off in one of our complimentary loaner vehicles. If you're too busy to come in on a weekday, schedule a Saturday appointment. Come to Jeff Schmidt Auto Group and experience the advantage.
If you hurt and need understanding and compassion, I would recommend Hoffman and Pluckett. They will give you the compassion, the understanding, and you don't have to worry about fighting your employer. You're working calm. A lot of people say, oh, you're not going to win, you're not going to win. We went in there and we won. Every time we went.
Right Rock Flooring brings our store to your door with our in-home shopping experience. Schedule online and we'll be on the way. Get started at rightrock.com. Your style at the lowest prices. Right Rock Flooring.
We all care about amazing taste. That's why we've been making the best mayonnaise for over 100 years. Hellman's, we're on the side of food. New Magnum Ice Cream, double sea salt caramel, caffeine HP brand, Magnum Ice Cream.
Come and go like you own the place with a gold season pass to Kings Island. That means unlimited visits, which is a whole lot of amazing for as low as 5 payments of $18 after an initial payment. Hurry, price goes up May 28th. Only at visitkingsisland.com.
As this story has unfolded, you've found out that he was involved in a lot of other crimes. And joining us is Brittany Moncrief. She is a Spectrum News Central New York reporter, and she has covered Brittany's story extensively. Brittany, thank you so much for being here. Now, he's confessed to 2 kidnapping cold cases, right?
Kevin Shouse was arrested for sexually assaulting a 4-year-old. She was actually a family friend daughter. And luckily, she spoke up about it. They arrested Kevin for it. And at the time, Detective William Root was on the force. And he actually interrogated Kevin Shouse. And he spoke with him. And his technique is a little different from a lot of other detectives. He takes a calmer approach where he listens to the suspects. And so he also recognized certain things about Kevin that stood out from past cases. So one would be the description that Brittany gave. And so that stood out to Detective Root. And then also Kevin had tattoos that stood out that he recognized from another case where a 16-year-old had mentioned, these same tattoos. So he kept pressuring Kevin and talking to Kevin. And eventually he gave up the current crime that he was arrested for, Brittany's abduction, and then 2 other kidnappings that they didn't even know were related.
Yeah. Amazing. Now, from Kevin Shouse's police statement, we have some excerpts first about Brittany. He says that these are the kind of things that he was giving up under this very skilled interrogation. He said, quote, I went to a parking lot by the DMV where there is a payphone. I picked up the phone and froze. I thought about going back to her every minute after that. I went and laid down and just cried. watched the news that night and tried to get into my car to go back and bring her home, but I was terrified. Kept thinking it was cold. When I heard she was found, I was overjoyed. I have read everything I could about this in the paper since it happened.
Well,
You've never heard that, right? You believe that?
Not at all.
John Walsh featured Brittany's case on America's Most Wanted and also presented her with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's Courage Award when she was only 6 years
as a
old.
child, just
They haven't
thinking
seen
through
each
that
other since
in
that
my
day.
brain and thinking,
Please welcome John
you know,
Walsh.
being disgusted. And, yeah, just always feeling like,
Love this one. Congratulations on the marriage. Get married. God bless you. I gotta say one thing about this girl right here. This is not a victim. This is a strong survivor. Right here.
So glad to see you. So glad to see you. I was telling her it's her courage and will to live that keeps there from being an empty chair between you and I right now.
95% of stranger abducted end up like my son, murdered.
Right.
Lucky if you find the remains of the body. And this girl just fought every minute of that kidnapping and was using her little, almost 6. You were almost 6, and my son Adam was 6 when he was kidnapped. You were using everything you had to stay alive.
Listen to what Kevin Scouse had to say. This is a voluntary affidavit about a 14-year-old Jane Doe. He said, I, Kevin J. Scouse, I saw a girl sitting on the swing, showed her the knife and said, don't try going anywhere. Very graphic sexual content. I'm not going to be sensational here. I'll just skip over that. She asked me if I was going to go home because her parents would worry about her. I was in a panic. I've never done anything like this by myself. I taped her to a tree, decided to tape her mouth so she couldn't scream. I think I wrapped her mouth, then around the tree. She was struggling to get free. I went berserk. I cut her jeans and her shirt. Her hands broke free. I ran to the car and drove away. This guy's just, I mean,
Coward predator.
just absolute coward predator.
And I've been doing this since 1981, since Adam was murdered. I have not met a cured pedophile predator yet. And this guy needs to die in jail.
Would you go to this parole hearing and make a statement that he should remain in jail?
That's a decision I have not yet made.
You're going to channel your anger to make sure he never gets out of
I
jail.
will.
All right. Well, next, child predator Kevin Scouse was a close family friend of my next guest, and it was their daughter who led to his arrest. We'll meet those parents and hear Scouse alleged confessions from behind bars after the break.
I never in a million years thought that Kevin Scouse would be somebody who sexually abused my child. I trusted Kevin with my life.
The suspect sketch was everywhere.
Never once in my mind did I think, you know what, that looks like Kevin.
Dr. Phil's newest podcast is available now.
I see these athletes squander such great opportunities. How did you stay away from all of that?
I've had my share of incidents.
When you were playing football, did you ever think you would be dancing in front of millions of people?
I never dreamt I would be on a television show wearing a tutu.
If you had 90 days, could you get back on the field and play 3 or 4 games?
Hell no. I don't want to run no more. I don't want to lift another weight.
Subscribe for free on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher.
Closed captioning provided by
Priceline will partner with even more Vegas hotels to turn their available rooms into amazing deals. Delegates, how do you vote? That is freaky. And a big deal.
We're from Publishers Clearinghouse, and you're a winner in the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes.
Oh my God.
Now, big surprise to you, win $25,000 a month for life. Enter at ECH.com and June 30th, win $25,000 a month for life.
before your day starts.
A SWAT team is at a home on Vernon Drive.
News Center 7 is on the working to bring you answers.
They were shooting tear gas into this home.
Start every day with coverage you can count on.
All new Ellen. In his new movie, his looks aren't just cute,
But they're also deadly.
Let's tell you more on Channel 7.
A helping hand.
a world of possibilities, a commitment to quality.
As America's largest exterior remodeler, Window World is with you every step of the way. From your first consultation to long after the installation, we're committed to providing you with outstanding service and value you can trust. Let's start the journey today. Right now, get 8 windows installed for just $78 a month.
Today was the day that I put everything in perspective. I fell asleep, but when I woke up, everything changed and the skies turned on. That was before Angel came along. He gave me a song with a little bit of love and a little bit, yeah.
My name is Joey. Do you want to share my sandwich?
Good feeds are connections. Good feeds us all. Hormel Natural Choice Lunch Meats.
You know my law firm, Dyer, Groffelman and Schultz. You probably also know that we handle lots of auto accident cases. But what you may not know is that for the last 20 years, we've been recognized in this book as one of the top-rated law firms in America. We also want you to know that we've handled numerous cases involving medical malpractice, birth injuries, Social Security disability, workers' compensation, employment law, pharmaceutical litigation. So if you are injured and need a lawyer, call 1-800-INJURED and get the Tiger on your side.
Brittany Fish was not the only young girl now convicted predator Kevin Schaus preyed upon. Jessica and Pat's daughter, Shay, was 4 years old when she too was sexually abused by him. In fact, Kevin was a trusted family friend who was once welcomed into their home. Take a look.
March 2005, officers arrested Kevin Schaus for abusing a young girl in a separate case.
I never would have in a million years thought that Kevin Schaus would be somebody who would sexually abuse my child. He was a very close family friend. He would come to Christmas, Thanksgiving. He was a member of my family. I trusted Kevin with my life. The mindset was, oh, I wonder who we could have watch the kids, and it was Uncle Kevin.
A massive search to find missing 5-year-old Brittany Fish.
The Brittany Fish kidnapping was all over the news, on the TV, in the newspapers. It was very scary. This happened 20 minutes from where we lived. The suspect sketch was everywhere.
Never once in my mind did I think, you know what, that looks like Kevin. Kevin just acted like he always acted. He was normal, calm. He didn't seem like he was afraid of anything. It was just Kevin being Kevin.
Approximately a year after Brittany was kidnapped, I went to the hospital to have my daughter, and he was there to babysit Shay. Several months later, Shaylin told us that Kevin had followed her into the bathroom and had exposed himself to her.
I was beyond shocked. There's no words to describe the feeling that I had.
Immediately after that, we called the police and had them come over and talk to Shay.
While Kevin was in jail, he wrote letters detailing the horrible things that he did and the horrible things that he had planned on doing if he didn't get caught. The detective told us that he was going to start locking kids in storage units and killing them.
Schaus took a universal guilty plea and was sentenced 20 years to life.
He's all around total monster. He never should get out of prison.
You two have been in the background, the fiber of this story, but you have never chosen to share your identity until right now. This is something that happened to her when she was 4 years old.
Yes.
And where was that in juxtaposition to when this happened to Brittany?
I think it was almost a year later.
And he was actually babysitting for you at the time.
Yes. My wife was in the hospital. She was having one of our other daughters, and it was who could we get to babysit? Uncle Kevin was the perfect choice.
You don't remember him acting nervous or paranoid or anything at all. I mean, that is why John, what you're saying is so true, and Brittany, what you're saying is so true. This is a cold-blooded psychopath. They're out looking for him after what he has left her, duct taped her head, barbed wired her hands and feet, left her to die, and he's at a backyard barbecue acting like nothing has happened. That is a cold-blooded psychopath, and that is the fingerprint of a reoffender.
They're vampires that live amongst them. They're good at what they do.
And what we know is that if your children are around, if you're a single parent, a single mother, and your children are around non-biological males, the likelihood of them being abused or molested is 31 times normal. I mean, that's just the fact. You can call it what you want, it can be politically correct or not, but statistically, that's the truth. When he was in jail, he did write a letter.
He was so close with my family that he was writing letters with my mom.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He was going to rent a storage unit, get a gun, and kidnap more kids.
In one of the letters that he had written, he had said that, and this was in the time after they had found Brittany and she was already home, that he had gone by her house more than a couple times and saw her and actually thought about kidnapping her again. I know you didn't know that. I'm so sorry, but
what do you think about that?
I was told that he fled the state. So it's terrifying to know that he wasn't gone.
no, he stayed
there.
right where he was, stayed in the same apartment he was living in, doing the same stuff he was doing. You know, he never went anywhere. He was literally just a couple miles away. Yeah.
He watched you. He saw you again.
I have goosebumps.
Up until now, Jessica and Pat's daughter has only been known to the media as Jane Doe. When we come back, she's going to share her story publicly for the first time ever. Plus, are there more Kevin Schaus victims out there? Jessica and Pat claim another young girl recently confided in them that she was abused too. All of this after the break.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, they say they had the perfect mom.
Now Cammie is a homeless drug addict who has been arrested 12 times. You were married and having sex with a 17-year-old boy.
That's tomorrow.
Closed captioning provided by...
So after comparing the ingredients of a lot of puppy foods, I chose Blue Buffalo. It was simple. Arnie's family. So I'm gonna feed him my family with Blue. To most, he's Phil Mickelson, pro golfer. To me, he's, well, Dad. So when his joint pain from psoriatic arthritis got really bad, it scared me. And what could that pain mean?
Joint pain could mean joint damage. Enbrel helps relieve joint pain, helps stop irreversible joint damage, and helps skin get clearer. Enbrel may lower your ability to fight infections, serious, sometimes fatal events, including infections, tuberculosis, lymphoma, other cancers, nervous system and blood disorders, and allergic reactions have occurred. Tell your doctor if you've been someplace where fungal infections are common, or if you're prone to infections, have cuts or sores, have had hepatitis B, have been treated for heart failure, or if you have persistent fever, bruising, bleeding, or paleness. Don't start Enbrel if you have an infection like the flu.
Since Enbrel, Dad's back to being Dad.
Visit Enbrel.com and use the joint damage simulator to see how your joint damage could be progressing.
Ask about Enbrel. Enbrel. FDA approved for over 16 years. For many kids, just showing up in school is a challenge. Staying through graduation is even harder. So at communities and schools, we do just what our name says. Our staff brings a community of resources to meet each student's needs right in their school, doing whatever it takes to keep kids focused so they see what we see, a bright future. Join in at communitiesandschools.org.
check out the No Money Down lease at Jeff Weiler Kia in Springfield.
Savings are blooming this season during Cedar Hill Furniture's annual Springtime Sales Event, your hometown destination for quality name brand furniture for less. Springtime Savings Event going on now.
Cedar Hill Furniture, you're gonna love the change.
Are you in the market for a new ride? Well, tune in this Saturday from 8 to 10 on Channel 7 to see all the amazing deals going on now at Evans Arena and enjoy your VIP experience.
Jessica and Pat's daughter was only 4 years old when Kevin Schaus was entrusted to babysit her while her mother was in labor. Now, Brittany Fish had been abducted the year before. These two girls have never met, but they have a definite connection. Shay, come on out. Shay, thank you so much for being here, and you've been a Jane Doe till today, and you have been an integral part of this man being caught and this man being put behind bars. So God bless you for that, and God bless you for being here. Tell me why you chose to speak out.
I chose to speak out. I just think it would be good to get my story out there, to let other girls know they're not alone.
Yeah. And you thought for a long time, because you're 4 years old, that you had done something wrong. What were you saying to yourself? That's really important for parents to hear.
Like, why did this happen to me?
And how did you answer that question?
I haven't.
Both of you felt like instantly that you were at fault. You had done something wrong.
We were so young, so innocent. We had to feel like it was our fault at that point.
And Brittany, you have certain triggers, and you still suffer flashbacks and depression from this as well, right?
I do.
This just doesn't go away. How much have you talked with your daughter about this over the years?
We haven't.
We haven't.
At all?
At all.
We actually had believed that she didn't remember anything.
You discovered that she remembered everything when?
Just
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's been how many years?
15, about.
She's kept that to herself the whole time.
So for 15 years, you've been dealing with this in silence and alone. And you guys have been operating under the theory that if she doesn't have a conscious recollection of this, we don't want to awaken this sleeping.
Right. We're afraid that if we brought it all up to her and she didn't know, then we're throwing that all on top of an 18-year-old child.
How do you feel about that?
Awful.
Horrible. That's another reason why we're here, is to now, as a family, we can begin to try to heal.
Start to help.
Right.
And let her know
yeah,
that she didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, she didn't. Neither of them did.
Yeah, none of these girls did anything wrong.
All right. Well, two of them sit here. Are there more Kevin Schaus victims out there? Well, we'll talk about that when we come back.
Do you need Dr. Phil's help? Text Phil to 88500 and share your story for a chance to appear on the show. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Hurry in to Ashley Home Store for the lowest prices of the season. Bar stools only $50, beds only $199, and sofas only $299. Or get 0% interest for 72 months. The lowest prices of the season are happening right now at Ashley Home Store. This is home.
New Lysol wipes are crazy strong. Don't believe us? We got this workout class to compare them to Clorox. Wow. Feel the strength of new Lysol wipes. Are you looking at this?
Can I take those?
No, Lysol, what it takes to protect.
You need a decision. These days, we all feel a little anxious sometimes. But if you could see inside my mind, you'd find I go to my happy place. Yeah. See, if we let tensions run the show up here, then our bodies won't perform at their best out here.
Wait, are we going to the sound check?
Priorities. So I'm partnering with Cigna to remind you that how you're doing emotionally affects you physically. Go for your annual checkup and be open with your doctor about anything you're feeling, physically and emotionally. Body and mind. Cigna, together all the way.
You could take the treatment of your ulcerative colitis in a different direction. Talk Talk to your doctor about Xeljanz, a pill, not an injection or infusion, for adults with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis. Xeljanz is the first and only FDA-approved pill for moderate to severe UC. It can reduce symptoms in as early as 2 weeks, improve the appearance of the intestinal lining, and provide lasting steroid-free remission. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have tears in the stomach or intestines, serious allergic reactions, low blood cell counts, higher liver tests, and cholesterol levels. Don't start Xeljanz if you have an infection. Your doctor should perform blood tests before and while taking Xeljanz and monitor certain liver tests. Tell your doctor if you've been somewhere fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B or C, or are prone to infections. You could take your UC treatment in a different direction. Ask your gastroenterologist about Xeljanz.
A driver hit him, but instead of stopping,
he was somebody. He had family that loved him.
Left him there to die. And this tragedy is one of many unsolved cases like it in the Miami Valley.
We're looking for the smallest clue.
The challenges facing investigators and one family's desperate search for the person behind the wheel.
We want someone to answer for doing this.
The I-Team investigates unsolved hit and runs today on News Center 7, beginning at 5:30.
At Jeff Weiler Toyota, our no money down lease includes sales tax, license, title, and all fees. At Jeff Weiler Toyota, no money down means no money down. So come see us today on Route 41 in Springfield or go to jeffweilerspringfieldtoyota.net.
Time to get this mess cleaned up. Well, this is going on my story, so I hope you make me look good.
I'm going to make you look fabulous.
Use your Square One app to book your appointment today. Square One Salon and Spa.
At just 4 and 5 years old, Shay and Brittany were instrumental in the apprehension of serial child kidnapper Kevin Schaus. Now, this is, when I say serial, I don't think we know how many victims there are out there now. And I know, and John can help me with this, but in the literature, we know that these kind of offenders have in their lifetimes usually somewhere between 45 and 80 victims on average in their lives. John, true?
You're absolutely right. It's a compulsion they can't control, and they will keep hurting and prey upon innocent, naive, young children until they're caught.
And so Kevin did sexually abuse 4 years old, but you've heard this from someone else. So there are other victims out there. I want to introduce someone that is a really good friend of mine. His name is Miles Adcox, and Miles is the owner and CEO of an organization called Onsite. Now, I consider Onsite to be a worldwide leader in intensive workshops and treatment, specializing in trauma and emotional health. And Miles, please join me on stage up here if you would. We'll bring a chair up and put you up here. So good to see you, man. I want to talk about this great facility and the life-changing programs that you have created over the last decade. I've been to Onsite, and it is an absolutely beautiful facility. It's located on a 250-acre campus among the scenic rolling hills of Tennessee. Miles, describe the type of amenities and facilities that you have at Onsite for people that come there to deal with trauma and the aftermath of that they're dealing with when they come to Onsite.
So I think trauma survivors are some of the most powerful, creative, innovative people on the planet. As a person who runs a facility, it was important for me to treat them that way. Long in the treatment industry, the behavioral health industry, there's this hospital feel that when you come to a facility, it's what's wrong with you. It's not what's wrong with you. That you would come become a better version of yourself. Eventually, when you come to a place, it should look and feel that way. It should feel beautiful. It should be a rewarding experience for your life, not one that feels like punishment. And that's what we work hard to curate, from the aesthetics, from the feel, from the staff, I want this to feel like the best and most hospitable vacation you've ever been on in your life because you deserve it.
Now, Miles and Onsite have made a lasting impact on the guests that we have had here. Let's take a look.
March 28th, day 2019.
My stepdad, Ralph, is a sick pervert. Things began when I was 17 years old. Every chance Ralph got, he would touch me.
Ralph abused me from the time I was a year old until age 5 while my mom was at work.
What would you more say?
I never touched you inappropriately, ever. I never touched your mother inappropriately. This is what really angers me. You are willing to destroy my life.
You have destroyed
Okay,
my
is there a way to like note in the record there to have someone like call me
Come
from
on
your office
and
and check
say
on it
thank you so
in
much
February?
for sending us to on-site.
I have been able to graduate college. I started a family. I'm so grateful for what the Dr. Phil show and on-site has given me. When I got to college, I decided to sign up for a bodybuilding competition. I went from 140 pounds to 118 pounds. I worked out for 3 hours a day. I have gained 60 pounds since the competition. I hate the person that I see in those photos.
I think you're flirting with what is called body dysmorphia.
Hi, Dr. Phil and Miles. I'm so excited that I get to thank both of you for the life-changing experience that I received by going to on-site workshops. The experience has changed my life, and I'm so excited that I get to say this to you. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to give a couple of examples of what steep hills they climb, and I'm saying that because I asked Miles to come here today.
What's your name?
Because we want to make this available
Where are you
to
located?
both of you. Okay?
Oh, nice, okay.
So I want to talk about what every parent needs to tell their child. It could save a life. One thing I know for sure is that we have the best audience of all the television shows on the air.
I've been sitting here every day for 17 seasons, and our audience is amazing.
We'd love for you to join us. It couldn't be easier, and the tickets are free.
If you're in the Los Angeles area, just go to drphil.com and click on Get Tickets for all the information.
And while you're here, it's nothing but fun, and I mean that literally. Our audience enjoy these delicious, nothing but granola bars. They're nutritious, delicious snacks that come in 4 mouth-watering flavors. Are you having a good time and enjoying your nothing but snacks? All right.
We hope to see you here real soon.
Closed captioning provided by...
Even our pets notes go directly to petmeds.com to save 30% on all the medications we carry. So go directly to petmeds.com now.
Down there care with Cottonelle. Down there, because you booked a sitter to get a wax before your beach vacation with your husband. So you use Cottonelle cleaning ripples that remove more at once for a superior clean, which feels amazing. Care. Down there care with Cottonelle.
My gums are irritated. I don't have to worry about that. Do I? Harmful bacteria lurk just below the gum line.
Crest Gum Detoxify voted Product of the Year. It works below the gum line to neutralize harmful plaque bacteria and help reverse early gum damage. Gum Detoxify from Crest.
The third stair always hurt, and your mother told me all her life that I should fix it. Now it reminds me of her. I'm just glad I never fixed it.
Listen, you don't need to go anywhere, Dad. Hey, Christine, she's going to help you around the house.
The best home to be in is your own. From personal care and memory care to help around the house, Home Instead offers personalized in-home services for your loved ones. Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
Come and go like you own the place with a gold season pass to Kings Island. That means unlimited visits starting this spring. All summer at Soak City. And during Grand Carnival, our all-new International Festival, and all the way through Haunt and Winterfest. Plus, free parking and the return of antique cars, which is a whole lot of amazing for as low as 5 payments of $18 after an initial payment. Hurry, price goes up May 28th. Only at visitkingsisland.com. Kings Island. It's amazing in here.
Is that net carbs or total? Nah, not enough fiber. Chocolate would be good.
Snacking should be sweet and simple. The delicious taste of Lucerna gives you the sweetness you crave while helping you manage your blood sugar. Lucerna, everyday progress.
Unlike shoes, it's hard to tell if your car insurance doesn't fit. Good drivers deserve a good fit. MetLife Auto. Get a custom quote today at 844-299-6839 or metlife.com/drivers.
It's the place for everyone to be. Where the kids can go wild and feels as comfy as your bed. We know what furniture means to you. That's why we created Happy Leather, just one of our new designer looks, because great moments deserve great furniture.
We are Value City Furniture, and we are going to be your new favorite furniture store.
Want to know what's coming up on Dr. Phil? Visit our website and subscribe to our email newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, life strategies, and exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else.
Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today.
You know, as John Walsh and I were just talking about, 95% of the time when there is an abduction, it just doesn't come to a happy ending. And the best defense is prevention. And I'm going to put on the website 10 steps that you can go over with your children and yourself about how to avoid an abduction. And one of the most important ones is to plan ahead. Take a look at this tape.
We've always been taught in the martial arts to fight on our feet, but it's not true with women and children, especially children that don't practice the martial arts. Their best defense, their biggest weapon is their voice, strongest weapon, their legs. She's going to go to the ground, have a temper tantrum, and go what we call chihuahua crazy. Is that a chihuahua or what, right? Okay, so ready?
All right,
so here we go. You ready? So, hey, come with me. Be quiet. Be quiet. I'm going to hurt you. Be quiet. Oh. Good job. Good job.
Rehearse this with them, role play this with them. And by the way, they'll love that. They love role playing this, but it could definitely save a life. I trust that both of you will avail yourself of this gift that we're talking about with Onsite.
Yes.
You deserve that. So special thanks to Miles, Adcox, and Onsite for offering resources to Brittany and Shay. I also want to thank John Walsh for all he has done and all that he does. His new show, In Pursuit with John Walsh, airs on Investigation Discovery every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I also want to thank McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center in Syracuse, New York, for all of their assistance with today's story, and Brittany Von Kreese from Spectrum News. Thank you for your work on this and bringing so much to light in this story. If you believe your child is missing or has been abducted, the first few hours are the most critical. You can contact police with information, a picture of your child, what your child was wearing right away, and you can ask that your child's case be entered into the National Crime and Information Center, and you should also contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The hotline number is 1-800-THE-LOST. I'll have all of that information on our website. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. Don't forget to subscribe to my new podcast called Fill in the Blanks. That's PHIL in the blanks. It's free, and you can listen every week. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
The WHIO TV TV app. It's absolutely free, and it's available right now on your smart TV and streaming devices. Just search Double Deep HIO on your Apple TV, Roku, or Amazon Fire. Stream coverage you can count on free anytime with the Double Deep HIO TV app.
Savings are booming this season during Cedar Hill Furniture's annual springtime sales event. Your hometown destination for quality name brand furniture for less. Springtime savings event going on now.
Cedar Hill Furniture, you're gonna love the change.
Window World knows our customers need more than just a pretty window. Our windows undergo extensive testing by the Good Housekeeping Institute, earning them the Good Housekeeping seal. Right now, get 8 windows installed for $78 a month.
Today was the day that I put everything in perspective. I fell asleep, but when I woke up, everything changed and the skies turned on. That was before
Hey, Joey.
came along and he gave me a song, a little bit of love and a little bit, yeah.
My name is Joey. Do you want to share my sandwich?
Good feeds are connections. Good feeds us all. Hormel Natural Choice Lunch Meats.
I lost a tooth playing basketball. Dr. Volk was able to get me in and do many dental implants. Now I'm back on the court and looking great thanks to Dr. Volk.
Hi, I'm Dr. Thomas Volk. Let me help you get your smile back.
With Oprah for her big Hollywood honor, and Mean Girls turns 15, which you never knew. Next ET.
Tonight at 7:30 on Channel 7. News Center.
Their new family bond feels unbreakable.
It was all falling into place.
But soon, war and murder tear them apart.
How cold-hearted could a person be? It was just an evil thing.
You couldn't let somebody get away with this.
I couldn't believe that. It was so unreal.
For this couple, the honeymoon is over. In his hometown of Las Vegas, Army Specialist Anthony Riggs and his soon-to-be bride, Tony Cato, prepare for their courtroom nuptials. Although they're just 20, the young couple is thrilled to come together as one.
Anthony, he was smiling. He was all excited. He was happy. Tony took that one deep breath and
The H is in typing. H. Why is the H typing? Jesus Christ.
He thought that he could really have a good life with her. Make a good husband.
They want to be together forever.
Forever.
It's not just Tony Anthony vows to love.
Mommy, I want to be in a picture too.
Tony had a little girl. Anthony wholeheartedly adored that little boy. He really did. He wanted to make sure that she had a stable environment, 2 parents.
And she's trying to be the provider, the protector, the nurturer, the caregiver. So to have a guy not only fall in love with you, but also be able to take in your child and love your child must have felt fabulous.
After their Vegas wedding, the newlyweds plan to settle down at Fort Bliss in Texas before Anthony deploys to the Gulf War. Just over a year later, Anthony is home from the war. His family from Texas, Detroit, where Tony's family lives. In Detroit, they stay the night at a relative's house and pack a few items stored there. The couple will be ready to move into their new place when the sun comes up.
Anthony doesn't want to leave this loading van filled with their belongings on the street because they believed it might be stolen. So he went out to get something out of the vehicle, and his wife Tony was inside the house.
But at 2:15 a.m., their dream of a better life shatters.
She discovered Anthony on the sidewalk near the driveway, and there was a lot of blood.
He was shot 5 times, and Anthony lay dying in the street.
Could her new husband survive the battlefield? But gunned down on her family's doorstep. Anthony Riggs grows up in Los Angeles, raised by his single mother and an older sister. Even as a young boy, his family knows he's something special.
Just the he thought that he was a genius. Everybody that met him.
But Anthony isn't just a smart. He also has a heart of gold. As he grows older, he develops a strong will to help those around him, especially when his friends turn towards drugs.
He would always talk to them about drugs or try to steer them away from things like that. But he was always looking at the good in them.
Is this really worth running your life for?
No, it's not. He's the type of person that gives you the benefit of the doubt. And even if he does see wrong in you, Anthony was not the one to even bring it out like that.
To teach them the better things of life.
During Anthony's senior year in high school, his mother relocates the family to Las Vegas. She wants the best opportunities for her children. Anthony sees promise in himself too, and believes serving his country is what he is born to do.
He had it in his mind that he wanted to go into the service and do something good. So it was to do it.
The military provides this sort of safe, boundaried structure.
We did.
He was the guy that was going to work his butt off and do whatever was necessary to get the job done.
Anthony's career thrives, but Army life can be lonely. Away from his friends and family, he hopes to soon meet someone special. Tony Cato lives amidst the concrete landscape of Detroit's inner city.
Growing up in Detroit can be very challenging. It is a tough place. There are friends. A lot of there's drugs, there's robbery, but a lot of kids make it.
Despite her, Tony has achievements to pursue.
advanced educational degree, and she wanted to be a nurse.
She was ultimately a caregiver. She wanted to care for people at their most vulnerable hour of need. But then Tony meets an Army soldier. They marry and have a baby girl. Before long, they're stationed in Germany. But the marriage doesn't last.
Who told you you could eat? Who said you could do it?
Lucky for Tony, she has a new friend on the Army base with a soft spot for those in need.
She has no lips. I've never seen a black lady with no lips.
More or less a shoulder to cry on with her problem.
Anytime someone hurt or was going through something,
Getting separated.
She's got no top lip.
wanted to help solve whatever problem that they were going through.
No, just